welcome back everyone, welcome back to another week, another edition of ESL Open Cup Asia number 213. I'm of course your host, oh god, I'm of course your host, VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by the lovely screenshots as well. We are here with the very last ESL Open Cup Asia of the year before I Am Katowice. Just before I Am Katowice, we're here, and as a result, we are missing a couple of players. I'm sure some players are in the midst of traveling, but clearly not all, because we are jumping into our first series of the night, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of side Delta, we have our South Korean Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless. It is Nightmare. Here we go. Again, exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. The bracket is stacked. A lot of insanely good players are still here. Some are missing, but only a handful, to be honest. I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a little bit surprised that there aren't as many that are in the midst of traveling. Most players that you expect to see to be here are here. Players like Hero, Classic, Dark, Shin, Nightmare, Creator, DRG, Gumiho, Byan. We still have all of our regulars, or most of them. We're missing Cure. I did notice Cure isn't here. Solar isn't here. Those are the two notables that come to mind. So they, I imagine, are traveling as we speak, or at least preparing for their travels. Oh, as Nightmare is going for something different. He's going for a double gate opener. Oh my god. Not something that I was expecting, but here we go. But a bit of a more aggressive opener out of Nightmare to kick things off. He's looking to be the aggressor here at Shin. Meanwhile, going for a 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. Shin is very much so fond of this opener, kind of like Raynor in the European region. Likewise, Shin also, more often than not, will embrace the 15-15, even in other matchups against Protoss, against Zerg, even against Terran as well. So here we go. Meanwhile, a big shout out to, of course, Soundo in the chat as well for subscribing for 39 months. That's a lot of months. That's over 3 years of support. Thank you so much, Puppy. Thank you so much for the support. We always appreciate it, Soundo. Over 3 years. Gracias, gracias. And here's to 3 more. Here's to 3 more years, at least. As again, Nightmare opening up double gateway is hyper aggressive. Now that the Cyber Core is done, we can make 2 and then 4 Adepts after this as well. So yeah, just a very assertive build here from Nightmare. We'll see what he can get done. We'll see how he can snowball out of control, if at all, as his Adepts are going to be shading across the map. Back at home, we have Shin, of course, making a couple of lings. He does confirm the 2-gate opener as well. He is fully aware with this Overlord Scout. He is forced to make extra lings just to make sure he is safe. Again, you have to take these Adepts very seriously, as these 2 Adepts, they can one-shot workers. They can just go to town and have their way with the mineral line. Oh boy, here we go, and up. We do commit to the shade, and the lings are ready and waiting. Oh my god, we get a surround. We get a full surround, and both Adepts will go down. Big pickoffs here by Shin. A very strong start already, completely just nullifying the opener here of Nightmare. We do have additional Adepts on the way. We have a follow-up to the lings. They somehow slip into the main base. We get 1 probe kill. We get a full scout as well. We get eyes on the tech of choice. It's going to be a Robo. Pretty interesting. With a Robo-based opener, this could be a Disruptor drop, this could be a Colossus Rush, this could be a 2-base all-in. We have a couple of different options available, but the Scout is huge, and that will trigger a response. And there it is, Roach Warren. At around the 3-minute 25 mark, Roach Warren is the call you want to make here. It does keep you safe against all things above, keeps you safe against 2-base all-ins or even Disruptor-based play as well. So far, good reaction here at a Shin. And there it is, there's the Bay. It is going to be Disruptors, or at least it should be. There are some players that try to play around with Colossus-based openers, but those are more of a rarity more than anything, and we should be seeing Disruptors instead, alongside War Prism Speed. Speaking of, the first Prism is on the way. The Prism is going to be moving out with a handful of units, try and vie for map control, pick off Overlords if possible, and maybe deny some creep before coming back home and picking up the Disruptors. Meanwhile, Shin rushing into a lair back home. With the fast lair, we can actually get fast detection. We can zoom across the map with an Overseer Scout as well. Just confirm what exactly is going on. Ooh, oh god. This is This is wild. Okay, so we scouted the robot opener, and just like how we deduced that it most likely is going to be a disruptor drop, likewise, I'm sure Shin did the same. Disruptors are indeed on the way, and we are responding with muters. And this is a way to hard counter the build of Nightmare. This is massive right now, all because Shin was able to scout earlier, all because he was able to confirm what was happening. And with Aspire, with muters, disruptors don't shoot up. The prism is vulnerable. If the prism goes down, that's the end of the aggression. There's no blink, there's no archons, there's no Phoenix production, there's no Stargate. Like, we are just woefully underprepared. And Shin is reacting so hard to this. The prism comes in, takes a lot of damage, forced back, and the prism is racing back home again to pick up those disruptors. Overseer Scouts coming in, and we are confirming the Bay. We have full confirmation of the disruptors. Meanwhile, Adepts are going to be threatening a shade towards the main. They are going to be threatening that shade, and it looks like they don't quite make it in yet. Adepts still being forced back, as they do actually race back home. Prism is moving out. 7 muters are on the way, and I don't want to call this too early. We're going into double Stargate as a follow-up, which I think is a wise choice. As we have scouted, we have seen the Spire, we are fully aware. We are going for the drop anyway. I believe we do have a recall available, thankfully, but this is going to be a rough position here for the disruptors. Oh god! We're going to take so much damage. Massive damage done here to the prism already, even without the muters, and the muters, they come out to finish the job. Novas go off. Oh my god, a bit of a chaotic engagement here. Disruptor shots are going to be connecting. But we shut down every single disruptor. I believe we shut down the prism as well. It all gets cleaned up. 5 drones is good, but 5 drones, it's not worth it here. Not for 2 disruptors and a warp prism. And now we're going for a massive counterattack. Now, thankfully, Nightmare, he did scout. He did confirm the Spire. He did go into double Phoenix production. So the Stargates are up and running. But can we hold on to the 3rd base? This is just a dire position here for Nightmare. Base is going to be cancelled. We get a kill on the Stalker. Muters, they avoid the army. They go straight for the main base. They catch the Phoenixes. Big volleys do go off. Thankfully, there's a shield battery. Shield battery will be holding the line for now, as the muters are forced back. They are being forced back. We're breaking in towards that natural base. We get a Phoenix. 1 Phoenix does go down. Oh, almost get another. Looks like the time of the mutants has come and gone. We are transitioning out of it already. We have Hydra Den. We have the Hydra Den on the way. Hydras are on the horizon here. Nightmare, he will defend on 2 bases, but he is stuck on 2 bases. We have a full wall off. Phoenixes are still amassing, and we're going for a big counterattack. These mutants, they can't really do too much, but that is the purpose of the Hydras. They're already in production. Infestation Pit, +1 range, +1 air attack. Queens are going to be pushing on forward as well. And Shin has just been in the driver's seat this entire time. Ay. This entire time he has just been 1 step ahead of Nightmare. Nightmare is still amassing Phoenixes, now going for a Twilight Council. This Twilight Council is so heavily delayed. We have Colossus or Extendo Lance. I do like the idea of Colossus production, but we go for the contamination. We do delay the Colossi. Big move here out of Shin. The muters, they do threaten to dive in towards that main. Hydras are amassing. Glaives on the way. I was not expecting that, but I mean, it's a way to deal with Hydras, true. We don't actually know that Hydras are coming out, but it is a way. And we'll see if we can. Oh god! As we do now confirm the Hydras, we do face check. We're fully aware of what's going on. Hydras are pushing out, and these, at least the Phoenixes buy some time. Hydra speed still not quite done, just now finishing. But when the Phoenixes, they do force the Hydras back home. They do force everything to turn back around. But Shin, he doesn't want to turn around. He wants to commit. Again, this 3rd base looking so vulnerable. We do have 1 Colossus in production. That will help. But we already have the Hive. Remember, we threw down the Infestation Pit minutes ago. And the Hive is about to complete. With the completion of the Hive, we can make Vipers. With the completion of the Vipers, we can deal with the Colossi. Again, Shin ready for it all. Mutants, they dive on that Robotic Spade. They're going for the, oh my god, they're going for the Extendo Lance. They're going for the upgrades. Next is going to take a lot of hits, and it will go down. We have our 1 Colossus. We do hold. It looks like the Mutas, they won't kill the Bay. They won't deny the upgrade, thankfully. Extendable Lance will finish for the Protoss. Resonating Glaives as well. Upgrades are not looking too bad. Yes, here we go. Phoenixes are in production. 3 of them. We're up to 2 Colossi, I believe. We're cutting production at 2 for now. We're taking up towards, there we go, Disruptors, Templar Archives, Archon, Storm. Nightmare trying to catch up. Shin still in control here. Going for a greater spy. Oh my god. He's taking up so fast. So quickly from Mutas into Hydras into Broodlords. I mean, we may not even see Broodlords this game, but I love that we're working on the tech nonetheless. We should be working on the upgrades. We already have +1 air attack in towards +2 or +1 air carapace. The Sphinxes, they do supply block Shin, but he's at 199. He's at essentially 200 supply. We are pushing out. So Vipers, they are full of energy. We have 3 of them against 2 Disruptors and 2 Colossi. Oh, the good feedbacks. Very nicely done. Very nice feedbacks here out of Nightmare, but we yoink in the Colossi nonetheless. We get 1, we get 2. The feedbacks were not good enough in the end. We break through the defensive line. We break through the splash damage. And good target firing out of Shin. He does clean up every single Robo-based unit. Only Adepts survive, and not for much longer. As the Hydras go to town, GG gets called and Shin takes game number 1. GG, a very, very solid game there. Very nice game out of Shin. Again, it's so important that he was able to confirm the Robo opener to begin with and correctly identified that, hey, if you're going for a Robo opener, most likely going to be a Disruptor drop. And he just hard countered it, went for the Mutas, then hard switch from Muta into Hydra after he realized that Phoenixes were on the way. And from there, teched up so quickly into Hive Tech, into Vipers. And with that, he just completely shut down Nightmare at every turn. Solid game. Solid game there from Shin. GG. GG, well played. And yeah, with that, he does take a lead in the series. But it's a best of 3. I want to believe that we can fight back, that we can have a back and forth here. I do want to believe. Meanwhile, the rest of the bracket is getting underway, and we can get into the updates once we wrap up this series. We do have plenty of time to ourselves. But here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our red Zerg player, currently leading the series 1-0, representing Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, the blue Protoss player. It is Nightmare. Looking to force that ace match. Can we take a game? Can we force that game 3? I want to believe we can. But again, that was just a really rough start from Nightmare. From the beginning, basically just the scout. The scout from Shin was huge. His ability to not just shut down the initial adept aggression. Remember, from the beginning, it was a 2-gate opener. It was an aggressive opener that wasn't worth it in the end. So Nightmare put himself behind, went into the Robo, got scouted, and Shin was just so on top of responding and reacting to what he was scouting. But I don't expect game 2 to be anything similar to game number 1. Outside of the ZVP matchup, like, game number 1 was very unique, and we're not going to be seeing a 2-gate opener. Already we have a deviation, and we shouldn't be seeing a Robo follow-up either. We should be seeing a much more standard start for Nightmare. It should be at least. Meanwhile, back at home, Shin once again went for a 15-15. We spoke about this, but Shin is quite fond of this opener. Quite fond of this opener in general, not just against Protoss, but against every single matchup. It's just a really safe way to play. It does ensure that the Zerg player does expand on location, that they take the natural base, and that they eventually lead into their, of course, gas and spawning pool. Delayed gases, of course, here by Shin, just now getting it up and running, means that Shin has late-ling speed, but we don't really need to rush into link speed or anything like that here in this matchup anyway. We can't afford to delay it. Meanwhile, behind this, we are soon going to have our tech of choice, and we do have it. There it is. We do have the Stargate. The Stargate here from Nightmare. I imagine going to be for an Oracle-based opener. As I did mention before, we should be seeing some standard play out of Nightmare, at least initially. So Stargate into Oracle into a third base, I feel like is on the table. But what about after this initial opener, after this tech? That is what I'm curious about. Do we go for Glaive Adepts? Do we go for +1 Blink Stalkers, +1 charge? Double Roto Production instead. We have so much available to us. We'll keep an eye on him. We'll keep an eye on Nightmare. Behind this, oh, we have our deviation here. No Oracle, it's going to be a Void Ray opener instead. Okay, so with this Void Ray, we should be shutting down the Overlord. And the advantage, the scary thing about this kind of playstyle here from Nightmare is that Shin won't know what's coming. Last game, we were praising Shin for his scouting. Well, this game, scouting is going to be that much more difficult for the Zerg player. Both Overlords should be shut down. And from here, we can go into a third base. From here, we can also go into hidden tech. It could be double Stargate Phoenix, double Stargate Skytoss. Could be a Twilight Council into Glaive Adepts. Could be just a 2-base all-in with, I almost said Blink Stalkers, with charge lots. Or it could be a standard follow-up instead. There's a lot available here to Nightmare. Where is he going to take us? Adepts are going to shade out. Void Ray looking for a second Overlord. Shin does pull back in time. We'll save, we'll preserve his units. We'll keep them safe for now. The Queens, they do get in position. Oh, they do deal quite a bit of damage to that Void Ray, even a bit of hull damage. Very nice throw stepping there from Shin. Across the map, third base is on the way, as you did mention. And what will our tech be? Twilight Council is thrown down. I see a Twilight Council. I don't see much else. This looks like Glaive Adepts. Basically, if you were going for Blink or Charge, we'd see a Forge. A Forge would be on the way as well. Without it, it should be Glaive Adepts here from Nightmare. And it's going to be on Shin to respond. So far, really good damage to the Void Ray. Now, basically, Shin should, in a couple of seconds, be throwing down a Roach Warren. There it is. Roach Warren is on the way. The reason why, even though it's a Stargate opener, because of the Void Ray, Shin doesn't know what's happening, doesn't know what's going on, has to play it safe, has to go for the Roach Warren. Meanwhile, that's a Forge. We do have a delayed Forge here from Nightmare. With the Forge, it is not Glaives, it is going to be Blink instead. We are going for a bit of a Gateway Explosion. We have 2 gateways here on the low ground. We have 3 on the way, 5 in total. We should be seeing a 6th gateway. This is quite aggressive. This is interesting to say the least. So, on the one hand, these upgrades are lopsided. +1 is delayed, more so than usual. So that's a little bit concerning. But, yep, there it is. We should be getting a Gateway Explosion because we have Blink so quickly. We're getting into Blink Stalker production so quickly. And Nightmare is going to be pushing out with a massive Blink Stalker army. If Shin is too greedy, if he takes a 4th and if he drones up past 66, then he's going to be in some trouble. Throwing down this Spire is risky as well. I mean, Mutas can do well in this matchup, especially if your opponent is playing macro. But based on all these gateways, I'm pretty sure Nightmare plans on being in the face of Shin sooner rather than later. Otherwise, there'd be no reason to throw down all these gateways. There would be no reason. But now, we're at least investing into Roaches. So this Spire, it looks like it's only going to be a handful of Mutas. I'm talking 6, maybe 7 Mutas in total just to harass. We're not going to be committing. We shouldn't be committing. As Blink is now finishing up, 4th base is on the way. Now, I assume the Nightmare would be going for some extra Warpins, and there it is, 6 Stalkers at a time. We are reinforcing, but are we pushing? That is the important question right now. If we do, then we could maybe catch Shin off guard as he is teching up and doesn't have the best of the most ideal army. There we go, Nightmare is moving out. Behind this, he's transitioning, he's taking up towards the Colossus. Stalkers have arrived, and what do we have to work with? We have 9 Roaches, 29 Lings. We should be okay. Shin wasn't too greedy. He does, try to get us around. Massive stasis trap on the army. The Roach is getting picked off, and Shin, he has to back off. He has to respect this force. Does pull back. A couple of mutas are on the way. Moving out as we speak. It's going to be 6 mutas in total. Of course, they could one-shot workers. So only enough to harass. Really risky move here out of Shin. Once again, diving on the army, forcing out a blink. Baiting out that stasis trap. Again, Shin doesn't really intend on pushing this across the map. He's just trying to hold on, trying to survive while he gets away with his mutas. Double Colossus production will end away the mutas. They do get into the natural. Blink Stalkers are in position. We do get 3-4 probe kills, and we get eyes on the tech. On the transition here, on all the robos. Behind this, Infestation Pit. Infestation Pit's on the way to get into Hive Tech to answer those Colossi with Vipers. So Viper's going to be on the horizon. Mutas are looking for another way in. They're looking for it. They don't quite find it though. So far, these mutas haven't achieved too much. What I will say is that they are at least forcing these Stalkers back home. They're keeping them busy back at home. Shin is double expanding. He's got his 4th. He's getting a 5th base on the way. And he's looking to max out on Ling, Bane, Roach Ravager. He's drawn up to 80 at this point as well. Again, Nightmare, he's stuck at home. He's stuck defending. He's stuck building up his army, which means Shin has so much freedom. So much freedom here. As I believe all the mutas... there's still 4 mutas left. 4 mutas remaining. Gonna get a couple of probe kills. But... yeah, they will be shut down. At the same time, Shin working his way through towards the 4th base of Nightmare. Stasis traps are on the way. Colossus is in position. We have 2 of them. And can Shin break through? Oh! Baits out of stasis. So far, so good. See Shin trying to find a better angle of attack. We have a 3rd Colossus and Disruptors. Yeah, there's no breaking this. Not like this. Now we're taking up. Hive is done. Ultra Caverns on the way. Adrenal. Spine Crawlers. The problem is that Shin has to trade. He's maxed. He's maxed out. He does need to trade out some of this army. Going for run buys, going for the mineral line, but Nightmare is looking so solid on these 4 bases. There's no breaking this. Not easily. And Nightmare is stabilizing. We got plus 3 on the way. Charge. Additional gateways. And Nightmare, he's just refining his army, looking stronger and stronger. And the scary thing is, as both players are maxed out, Nightmare, he's going to have the ability to go for a big push, a big counterattack with a death bull of an army. And Shin, his army is meant to trade, not meant to fight head on. I do worry for him. I do worry that if one fight goes too well in Nightmare's favor, he's just going to snowball out of control. He's going to keep on pushing, knock down bases, and kill Shin before he can remax. There it is. Speaking of, we have 2 more Stargates on the way. Speaking of remaxing, we have a Fleet Beacon as well. We're getting ready for Sky Toss. We are getting ready for it. Stalkers move in, clear up a lot of creep. Before pulling back. The Disruptors are edging on ever closer. I do appreciate the upgrades that are on the way, but again, this army still feels quite vulnerable for Shin. Assuming that we move out with the Colossi. You can see Shin trying to get us around. Never goes off. Up! Good connection. Ooh, better connection as well. A lot of Banelings, a lot of Ravagers go down. We do kill the Disruptors. Well, those are some juicy shots from Nightmare. And as he loses the Disruptors, he replaces them with Carriers. I'm more than happy to take this trade. Nightmare bleeding out units, working towards Sky Toss. Meanwhile, Shin, it does feel like he's on a timer. He's pushing forward, now has Vipers. Looking for some yoinks. Oh my god. Vipers have to be so careful. You can see the Stalkers, they do target them down. And they barely do not get them. Stalkers are being forced back, and can we get a yoink off? We can, but is there anything to kill these Colossi? There's nothing left. We get one. We get one Colossus, but that's all we do get as Shin loses everything. His entire army does crumble. He doesn't touch the economy here of Nightmare. And Shin, he's remaxing with Ultras. Meanwhile, the Protoss is remaxing with Carrier. One can shoot down, the other cannot shoot up. Mass Ultra here could work if it was ground toss, but it isn't. I mean, I guess it still is. We haven't hit critical mass of Carrier. Not yet. Big Scouts. Carriers have been revealed. They have been seen by those mutas. Did we actually notice, though? That is the question. We have a Spire. We have +1 air attack. We need Corruptors soon. As we can see here, these Carriers have no fear. They can just chip away at these Ultras without any kind of issue. At the same time, the Lings, they get in. Massive Link Flood into the main base. Colossi goes down. Ultras are breaking through. 3-3 still on the way, but we are busting through so many of these Stalkers. Very nice trade here for Shin. As he does get into the middle line. The Baileys, they crash. They crash into the middle line. Probes are going down. Colossi as well. The ground army is falling. The Carriers, they reign supreme. But what about what little was left on the ground? A rough move command here for these Ultras. More Lings on the way. The main base was dealt with. It was cleaned up, but Shin not slowing down. Catches an Immortal. Gets an Immortal, gets a Robo. Void Razor on the way. To deal with this, we do need Corruptor and Spellcasters. Whether it's Infestor, whether it's Viper, whether it's both, we will need them. Lings do pull back. Looking at the armies, we have 12 Corruptors, a decent amount. We have a couple of Ultras in the mix as well. Shin, he's refining his army, but you can see the bank. He doesn't have one. No bank available here for Shin. As he's trying to build himself back up. Likewise, so is Nightmare. Overall, who do I favor here in this next big fight? I mean, Storm is about to finish. Storm is going to be huge here for Nightmare. I think I have to favor him. He's got Immortals for the Ultras. He's got Carriers for everything else. He's got a handful of Void Rays. The Storms will help zone away those Corruptors, ideally. No Archons, which is concerning. No Archons are available. We'll see if it's going to be enough. Big Storms here on the Lings. But we do focus on the High Templar. We dive on top of the Carriers. The Carriers are exposed. Where are the Void Rays? Where's the ground army? One Carrier goes down. The second as well. Storm zones back the Corruptors. But that was a good trade for Shin. That was a good trade. Shin is going to pull back. Greater Spire, triple Viper production. Do love to see it. Vipers are the big thing that has been missing. They do amazingly against Void Rays. I mean, against anything, really. They can help yoink some of these Immortals. Blinding Cloud. And even Power Bomb the Void Rays. There is a place for each of those spells. Oof, oh my god. Meanwhile, Nightmare, for the first time in a long time, pushes out with his army, does get a kill on a base, kills 8 drones, and all the stack defense. Nightmare catches the final Carrier, does go down. Tempests are on the way. Not too sure how I feel about that, but Tempests are in production for Nightmare. Ooh, as he is being caught out. Shin trying to come in for a surround. Trying. Being the imperative word there, and yeah, we're forced a recall. Couple of units are left behind, and they will be cleaned up. At the same time, a couple of drones did go down. Likewise, we clean up that Immortal. Nightmare trying to take a 5th base, but I don't think we can. Shin should be able to deny it. There we go. He is pushing in. Does yoink one of the... Oh my god. Yoinks one of the Void Rays. Yoinks one of the Immortals. Where's the Storm? There is none. No storms available. They crash in and we collapse on top of the Void Rays. It looks like we can clean up the skies, but not the ground. The Void Rays and the carriers have fallen. We take down the 5th base, but we have to retreat. We have to pull back. And what do we need? Broodlords. Broodlords are necessary here for Shin. He needs a ground army. He needs something to deal with the ground army of Nightmare. There it is. 11 and Broodlords on the way. We still have a couple of Corruptors, thankfully, because we are transitioning to Tempest. So the Tempests are good against the Broodlords, but we are not morphing all of them in. Tempests are revealed. Oof. As Shin catches 2-Eye Templar, and he does go for a big counterattack with these Ultras. Takes down shield batteries, cannons, pylons. Barely not getting into the mineral line, but does get a lot of damage nonetheless. And does get a kill on the 4th base. Nightmare knocked down to 3 bases. Does he have any mining? He's got a couple of patches in the natural, nothing in the main, a couple of patches here at the 3rd base. Nightmare in a lot of trouble. He is running out of money. He's running out of resources. He has a decent army, but again, there's just nothing to sustain himself. There's no economy. Shin isn't looking amazing economically either, but better than Nightmare. That's what matters right now. Double expanding, soon to saturate bottom left. Shin has been losing some bases, but for the most part has been able to recover. How many Tempests do we have? 5. 5 Tempests against 12 Corruptors. Yeah, we have plenty of anti-air. Did I speak too soon? With 3 volleys here, 1 Broodlord goes down. Again, the Tempest, they can do quite well in this situation. The problem is that we just don't really have the best army to support here. I mean, it's mainly ground-based. Is that good enough? I do feel like if the Tempests go down before they kill enough Broodlords, then Shin can win the fight. Shin shuts down the prism. Moving back over. Nightmare, he does get a base up and running. He can sustain himself. He can now max. Won't have a bank, but he's working on it. As he takes another base. Shin amassing his army, getting ready for his own dive. Here we go. We dive on top of that army. Where are the Fungals? Oh! Doesn't quite go for it. Gets a yoink. Gets the Tempest. 4 Tempests left. I mean, that's a way to do it, I guess. Just yoink each Tempest individually. Fungal does connect. Oh, Storm's going to be zoning back those Corruptors. But there it is, the yoinks, they have come upon us. We get 1, we get 2. 2 Tempests go down, there's 2 left. Yeah, we commit to the dive here. We hunt down every single Tempest, they're all going to fall. Meanwhile, when it comes to the ground army, the Broodlords, they reign supreme. Mass Fungal here on the Stalkers, there's no blinking. And it looks like Shin, he does have to retreat. Was a costly fight, but he preserves his Broodlords. He keeps his Broodlords alive, keeps some Corruptors alive. He reset the Tempest count. There is a decent amount of Immortals on the ground, but that is what the Broodlords are for. That is where the Broodlords really do shine against Mass Immortal like this. Making 3 Tempests at a time. Loving the transfuse from Shin. The would-be 5th base here is being shut down. We do catch some of the Corruptors. Big overextension there by Shin. I don't think he realizes that the Corruptors, they still have value. We're going back into Tempest production. Broodlords are coming from behind, but again, they're so vulnerable. Big storm here on the Broods. But we get a full surround on the army. There are so many ultras on the ground. We clean up the immortals, we clean up the stalkers. There's nothing left, only Tempest. GG gets called, and Shin will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Shin will take it in the end, will advance on to the next round. My condolences to Nightmare. Again, he had a really rough game one. Game one ended before it really did begin. Game two was more back and forth. Game two was more of a back and forth between Shin and Nightmare, but alas, Nightmare just wasn't able to get a stable economy. That was the problem. His economy was just in shambles for so long, for so much of that game. Could barely max out. Could barely not max out even. And with that, congratulations. Congratulations to Nightmare. Sorry, to Shin for advancing on into the next round where he has his next opponent ready and waiting. Meanwhile, we have some other updates as well. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Do have some updates, and one moment as I try to catch up with what is going on. As we can have a look ourselves. And have a look ourselves. Hold on, God. Don't really have the setup for this, unfortunately. Have to Frankenstein this. Okay. Here we go. Bam. Oh, never mind. God damn it, there's a capture. So from the top, exclamation mark B. I guess I'll just have to go through it myself. But wait, hold on. Does this work? We'll make do with this. Okay. From the top, from the very top here, we are gonna be going through these updates. We have Dark taking down Cyan 2-0. So for those that are curious, just responding. For those that are curious, from the top, we were actually going to be casting Firefly versus Cyan. Firefly versus Cyan, that was going to be our first series of the night. But unfortunately, Firefly was MIA. Firefly, he was missing in action, which is why we dove on to our second pick, Shin versus Nightmare. That was the series that we went for, just because Firefly was missing, and Cyan did get the walkover. He got the walkover, he went up against Dark. Dark 2-0'd Cyan, and Dark is waiting in the semifinals, waiting for the winner of Hero, Nice, and Classic. PvP galore. I have confirmation. Nice and Hero are still mid-series. They are still duking it out. There will be a Protoss facing off against Dark in the semis. Which Protoss? We've yet to find out. We've yet to confirm. We'll see. We shall see, given time. We'll see how that does turn out. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have our next matchup. Going to be messaging some players here. To make sure we didn't get left behind. Beautiful. Messaging the players. But Bjorn 204, he's waiting for the winner of DRG and Creator. They're currently mid-series as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, they're currently mid-series, so Bjorn patiently waiting. We also have Shin versus Nightmare, which we just casted. Shin advances on to face off against Gumiho in the quarterfinals, and that is our next series. Shin versus Gumiho is going to be up next on the CranKy Ducklings. And we will most likely follow that into the lower semifinals. I mean, I say that I would love to cast Dark versus either Hero, Nice, or Classic. That ZVP looks amazing, but it's still a ways away. Still a ways away. We have time to cover some of these lower matches and maybe commit to covering the lower semifinals as well. So that is the plan. For those that are curious. And again, just a solid performance out of Shin. a solid performance in that ZVP, just reading his opponent so well, taking up so well, and punishing him. As we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here. When we return, we will have our next matchup. As we mentioned, it should be Shin versus Gumiho coming up next. Meanwhile, if you're in the chat, hope you all have enjoyed yourself so far. Again, it is going to be an interesting tournament. I did mention that some players are traveling, specifically Solar and Cure are missing. They are currently missing here in the bracket, but a big reason for that, I'm sure, is just because we have yet to really, or because they're traveling for IEM. Meanwhile, you can hear the beeps. We have found our series. We are loading on in, and we're heading into Shin versus Gumiho. Let's go. Feeders are so fast. It's so quick. And game one on Solaris. Let's go. I was getting ready for a break, but never mind. Our players, we're ready. We are ready, and here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris, we have our blue Terran player representing his new team, Na'Vi. It is Gumiho. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming. He just took down Nightmare 2-0. It is Shin. Here we go. Our ZVT does continue here. Or, yeah, that does commence even. And Gumiho going for a low ground Rax. I'm curious if he's going to be going for a 2-Rax Reaper opener, or if he goes for something that he has been a little bit more fond of, which is the special opener of Rax into Factory. But here comes that second SCV, and we should be throwing down that second Rax. There we go. 2-Rax Reaper here from Gumiho. Again, this is a build that Beyond did popularize, Beyond and Maru did perfect it, while Special did create it. This was, of course, 2 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. 2 years ago, November of 2022 was when Beyond and Maru did whip it out for the first time at DreamHack Atlanta of 2022. And of course, Beyond did refine it throughout the first half of 2023 as well. And now we are here. We have arrived with it being quite meta. You know, every now and then, all players, whether it's Korean Terran or even European Terran, are willing to mix this into their play. Now, the goal of this build, and I'll be honest, I haven't actually seen this in a couple of weeks, so refreshing to see it again. The purpose of this 2-Rax Reaper build is to get across the map, is to contain the Zerg player to 2 bases, to delay the third for as long as possible, and to maybe get a kill on a couple of drones, if at all possible. It isn't necessary, it isn't really expected, but depending on the control of the player, depending on Gumiho, he might be able to find some big offs. Meanwhile, CC on low ground, it is not going to be 3-Rax Reaper. There are different variations. 3-Rax Reaper is just a bigger commitment. But Gumiho just going for 2 Raxes to begin with. First Reaper gets stuck. No! Oh, a big pick off there. Ay, ay, ay. Gumiho, he gets stuck behind the middle line. The question marks are thrown down. And that is disastrous. That is huge, by the way. To lose... Oh, don't do it again. To lose the first Reaper is huge. No! Oh my god, to lose the first Reaper is massive, and with that, Shin can freely take his expansion. There is so much less threatening him, only 2 Reapers do remain. And we're following it up with a 3rd Rax in the main base. Gumiho, interesting. I haven't seen a 3-Rax follow-up in quite some time. So, Beyond used to mix this in quite often, around maybe June, July-ish of last year, as a common follow-up to 2-Rax Reaper. So the purpose of this is that we can go into 4 Raxes if we so chose. So it's going to be 3. It's going to be 3-1-1 setup, an abundance of Marines. We're going to hit a very strong stim timing here, and if Shin is a little bit too greedy, then Gumiho can catch him off guard and could even punish him quite hard with that bio push. Again, with 3 Raxes, we're going to be hitting with more Marines than normal. So Shin has to be very careful with how he does respond. Meanwhile, Lee's going for a big counter. He's like, no, Stim is exposed. The Reaper's out of position. There's only one Marine, and the add-ons will fall. Massive delay here on Stim. The reactor falls, the tech lab as well. Shin, he is in the driver's seat. He is in control of this game, 100%. Ay. Not like this. And suddenly, this 3 racks follow-up from Gumiho is going to be that much weaker. We have Vanilla Marines. We can shut down the Overlord at least, but... not ideal, is what I will say. Not ideal whatsoever here. As the Lings, they do get us around. We shut down the Reapers. 3 of them do fall. Gumiho unable to make it back home in time. Third base is getting up and running. Stim has been restarted once again here at the low ground. Now, this time we have enough Marines. This time, this Stim will finish, but it's so late. It's so delayed. Shin has so much time to drone up, and he's playing safe as well. I love this from Shin. Bailey Nest is on the way. So, typically against a more economic opener, you would open up with double Evo Chamber, and you would delay the Bailey Nest. You'd be going for a delayed lair. But this is a very safe play out of Shin. Bailey Nest first will keep you safe against a Hellbat push, for example. A Hellbat all-in. Speaking of all-in, no third CC. No third CC out of Gumiho. This is very committed. This is borderline all-in from our Korean Terran. So we are moving out across map. Stim is only halfway done. It should have been done by now, but again, it was delayed earlier. Marines, they catch an Overlord. They're not even. The Overlord survives. And now we're getting to double Evo Chamber. The lair is late, or it is delayed, but remember, it was delayed because we went for a very safe Bailey Nest timing. So really safe play here from Shin, which I think is very wise, especially considering what's happening. I mean, Gumiho, there's no third CC. He's all in. He is all in at this point. I do think that Shin could have gone lair first instead of Bailey Nest and still delayed his 1-1 Evo Chambers, but regardless, we'll see if Shin can deal with what is to come. Armory is on the way. It is going to be Hellbat push. So Shin going for the safety Bailey Nest, it's going to pay off. It is going to pay off because Hellbats are being morphed in and Shin is ready for it. There it is. 8 Bailings on the way. Again, these Bailings would not be here if he had gone for Evo Chambers first instead. So the safe play for Shin is paying off. Designed to defend against Hellbats. Oh, the Queens, they're going down. We do miss a transfuse. 2 transfuses were missed. 2 Queens go down. We collapse on the army. Bailings are rolling in. And can we hold on? Can we survive? Good target firing out of Gumiho. Very nicely done. Shin losing 2 Queens initially was brutal. And Gumiho's breaking through. The 2 ace all in. It's still working. It's still working. It's still paying off. And Gumiho, he will break through. Shin, he did blunder the defense there. Fumbled the ball. And Gumiho, he has done it. He breaks through the Bailey Nest. The Evo Chambers. 1-1 will not finish. Gumiho, he salvages the game. Bailings are waddling in. Decent connections, but not good enough. GG gets called. Gumiho takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, we did see 2 Queens die so quickly for Shin, and those 2 Queens they were full of energy as well. So very quickly, things started snowballing out of control. 2 Queens died. The Bailings were a little bit late. The Queens, they engaged too early as well. They engaged a little bit too early on their own. The defense was fumbled, and just like that, Gumiho takes game 1. Even with the safe build of Shin, he was caught with his pants down. Or just was caught a little bit too underprepared. I think a better way of putting it is, Shin, he had the tools to defend, but the execution was lacking. And with that, Gumiho is 1 game away from advancing on to the semifinals. 1 more game is all he needs. So again, Gumiho showing us, hey, you can lose your initial Reapers, you can have delayed Stim. It's all good, Bobby. It's all good. You can still catch your opponent off guard. Again, maybe Shin was overconfident. Maybe because so much in the early game was going Shin's way. Maybe, again, that did lead to his downfall. Maybe it did lead to a bit of a lapse in judgment or a bit of a lax response. Regardless, we have to shake it off as we do settle into game number 2. As we do get into that second game, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our blue Terran player, who representing his new team Na'Vi, pulling off that all-in, getting ahead here, leading the series 1-0. Can he close it out? Can he head to the semis? It is Gumiho. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming down in this series. Can he fight back? Can he force the ace match? It is Shin. Here we go. Hello, Mr. Gumiho. Bappy, we are going to keep the aggression up. This is what I love out of Gumiho. This is what is crazy about him, is that he's very unpredictable. I'm sure if you're watching, you're aware, right? Gumiho, he has a reputation of being very creative. He's a very creative Terran player. He's, I would say, the most creative Terran player out there. That last game, going for the 2-axe Reaper into 3-axe all-in, is not something that we've seen for months, I'll be honest, at the competitive level. We haven't seen it for a very long time, so, again, maybe caught Shin a bit off guard. Behind this, we are going for a 3-axe. 3 reps here. 3-axe from Gumiho. Oh, we're good. Hold on. Beautiful. 3-axe out of Gumiho. Very committed, very aggressive, very much so in the face of Shin. And Shin, ooh, is not in position. This may just be too much. So what's happening right now, Shin is going Hatchcat's pool, which is normal, which is fine. But Shin, he sends both overlords across the map. This should not be happening. This second overlord should move out and then come back to scout this. We need the overlord here over the natural, and it's not here, which means we get a late reaction, a late scout from Shin. He's pulling the boys against a 3-axe, not like this. Third SCV reveals itself. The boys, they're already being pulled. A bold decision here by Shin to commit. Does get us around on some of those SCVs. Or does try to. He's going for the Marines. Good stutter stepping here from Gumiho, but he's running out of room. Does slip away, and he's killing so many drones. His game-ending damage. 8 workers go down. 9, 10, 11 drones. And Gumiho, he is doing it. He is up heavily in economy. Shin, late scout, late reaction, and a rough reaction against a 3-axe. 11 drones go down. Gumiho is up 11 workers. Additional Marines have arrived to do get us around. Good cleanup here by Shin. But Shin is so behind. The Zerg player is so far behind here. His economy is crippled. And he even invested into the spine crawler that didn't really help either. Again, to quickly go over what just happened, the standard thing to do, the typical thing to do here in ZVT is to keep your second overlord to scout initially and then come back and park your overlord outside the natural to keep an eye on something like this, to keep an eye on the SCVs coming in on a bunker rush or on a proxy racks, as we did see. Unfortunately, late scout from Shin, late reaction. He does get a delay on the CC at least. On top of that, his reaction to pull the boys is what you do against a proxy 2 racks, not necessarily against a proxy 3 racks, because there are so many more Marines. That's why so many drones went down, because Shin assumed it was 2 axes, but the third SCV revealed itself a little bit too late, and Shin is in a rough position. Here. Again, Gumiho having the goal, the confidence to expand on location. Marines have map control, we're moving out. Shin, supply blocks still behind in the economy. And Gumiho, he's crazy. He's going for not just a CC on location, a third CC before factory. Very greedy follow-up. A follow-up that he can get away with. Meanwhile, Shin, it looks like he's going all in, which I am not opposed to. I think Shin knows, we all know that macroing out of this is not possible. It's not possible for Shin, not after losing so many drones, so he's link flooding. He's going for a big link flood. No gases, no bailing nests, just pure mass link. Here we go, we catch the Marines. Marines are being shut down for the most part. They trade well for themselves, but they do get shut down. And here we go, Shin going for a big counterattack. back at home, Gumiho doesn't have much to defend. Doesn't have anything, actually. The wall is getting up and running. We have 0 Marines. 0 units for Gumiho. This Ling counterattack, it could break through. Gumiho being a little bit too greedy, not expecting the Ling Flood. The Marines, they come out just in time. They do break through one of those Raxes, but the wall, it does get up and running. Whew, that was a clutch wall there from Gumiho. 2 Marines held the line, and Gumiho will force this back. As Shin back at home throws down the 3rd base. Now, he is redroning, that is true. Now, the problem is that the supply does lie. So Shin, he is catching up in the drone count. That is true. He's got a 3rd base on the way. But remember, Gumiho's on 3cc. Gumiho's on 3cc. He has triple mules, he has triple SCV production. Gumiho is still ahead economically. And he's working towards those upgrades. +1 on the way. Stim in production as well. We have plenty of Marines to defend. And Shin, he's transitioning out of this, droning up hard. Shin, he's again just droning up as much as he can. Armory is on the way. Oh my god. Okay, so Gumiho once again doubling down on aggression, checking the Overlord vision. We did scout that armory just barely, and this is looking like a committed Widowmine drop. Now, just because we saw the armory, I mean, logic holds that this should be a Hellbat push, right? That's what we saw in the last game. But Shin is moving out with, Gumiho is moving out with Widow Mines. Detection is required, and detection is not available. No lair. No lair, no spore, 0 detection. Damage is going to be done. We do have a Baneliness on the way before the lair, so this is getting ready for a Hellbat push, as I did mention. Spores are being thrown down. And the mines will burrow up. Ooh, big connection. 5 drones go down. And a second shot into the main base. As we get a 6th worker. 6 drones do fall. Detection is soon going to be available as the Widowmine does waddle away. I'm loving this move here out of Gumiho, repositioning the mines. One of the main goes down. Oh, the other at the natural does fall as well. But good damage. For 2 Widowmines, 6 drone kills, that's worth it. Worth it for Gumiho. His 3rd base is getting up and running as we speak. Raxes are well underway. Stim is done, and we are pushing with our Bio Army. Now, Shin does have Banelings available, but no Baneling speed. He's got 1-1 on the way, but Gumiho has the upgrade advantage. He has +1, working on +2 as we speak. He is moving out. This push is brutal. How many queens? 6 queens. That's an okay amount for Shin. It's okay. Not ideal. Here we go. We do Stim on 4. We do diamonds up with the queens. The Banelings! Up! They will not connect, but good target firing here on the Medivacs. Very nice cleanup here by Shin. Shin, he is coming back. He's pulling himself back into this. Big snipe here on not just 1, 2 Medivacs go down. And Gumiho did overextend. He dove far too deep onto creep. Overconfident. And Gumiho does pay the price. Now, upon losing all these Marines, how much have we lost? 2 Medivacs, 30+ Marines. Shin is stabilizing. He isn't there yet. Gumiho is still ahead. Gumiho still has higher worker count plus mules. He still has a better economy. Still has better upgrades. But Shin is recovering. Gumiho 4cc on location. It's crazy. He is on location, catching up on his upgrades with that 2nd eBay. Bold move here by Gumiho. He is moving out. Gonna be meeting up with his Medivacs. If it was a 4th base here, then he could shut it down. Catches an Overlord. Will deny creep. We won't get much more. As Gumiho is getting caught out. Not enough room for all the Marines. He has to fight. And so many Marines go down. Another big catch for Shin. He's killed so many Marines already. He's gonna be forced back. And Shin is getting into Lingbane Hydra. Hydra production has commenced. Shin, he's droning on up, getting up to 80 workers. Getting up to 80 workers, working towards the goal base as well. And we're settling into Alcyone. Again, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed here. It wasn't just Shin. To be fair, it was, again, it did seem like Gumiho was a little bit overconfident and a little bit over-eager with his initial drop play, with his initial Marine push. Shin is not out of the woodworks yet, though. How many Banelings? 10 Banelings! And here comes Gumiho. Catches the Banelings before they can finish. There's 10 Banelings remaining. Good pre-split here out of Gumiho. Hellbats are pushing forward. And Shin, he was on his road to recovery. He was almost there. The Banelings, they will barely finish. Decent connections. Decent connections on the Marines, but there's just too much bio, too much Marines, too much Gumiho. He breaks through the Lingbane. He's getting on top of the Hydras. Very efficient trade. Every single Hydra goes down. And Gumiho, he has broken the back of Shin. GG gets called. Gumiho will take the series 2-0. GG. Again, Shin, he was almost there. He just needed a little bit more time. He was trading well. He was killing Marines, killing medevacs. Just needed a little bit more time there, like an extra minute. Give us a minute, and then maybe Shin can get his goal base up and running and look to max out. Unfortunately, Gumiho was still just a little bit too far ahead from the early game and still had a massive advantage when it came to his army size and his upgrades. GG, well played. GG, Gumiho does take down Shin. 2-0, advancing on to the semi-finals to face off against his next opponent. To face off against who exactly? Well, we're here to find out. We are here to find out. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back of yourselves. From the top, Hero did take down Nice 2-1. Hero took down Classic 2-0, and Dark versus Hero is upon us. It has begun. I believe that's being casted by Wardy. I believe Wardy is covering that series. I believe he did jump on over. He was covering Nightmare versus Shin earlier, and I think he switched over to that Northern series. So he does have that covered. I'm a little bit jealous. I would love to cast Dark versus Hero. It's always a great series between those two. So enjoy. Hope you will enjoy, assuming that Wardy's casting that. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have Bjorn versus Creator currently ongoing in a best of 3, and the winner of Bjorn versus Creator plays against Gumiho. Gumiho, he did take down. He just took down Shin 2-0. Gumiho is in the semifinals. Bjorn versus Creator currently duking it out. Creator took down DRG 2-1. Went all the way to the ace match. Went all the way to game 3. But who plays against Gumiho still yet to be determined. Now, basically, we have the... Oh, actually, I have a lobby. Oh my god, I was not expecting that. Here we go. Okay, we are jumping in mid-series because we have a game. We have a lobby. I'm coming. I just need a little bit more time. Okay, we're jumping in mid-series into Creator versus Bjorn. Creator versus Bjorn is upon us. I apologize, the team logos may be a little bit scuffed, a little bit off. But we are jumping into this and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris. We have our blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. The South Korean Terran down in this series, by the way. We're jumping into game 2, and he is down 0-1. Can he force the ace match? It is Bjorn. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have... Oh. the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Club NV, leading the series 1-0. It is Creator. Here we go. We are getting into game number 2 here. Again, we missed out on game 1. Also, I had assumed that Wardy had gone for Dark versus Hero, but I have just been informed, because we're both in the same lobby, that Wardy actually jumped on Creator versus Beyond. Wardy was casting game 1 of this series, which unfortunately, I believe, means that no one is casting Hero versus Dark, or maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I think Inu. I think Inu's casting Hero versus Dark. Potentially. I hope so, at least. I hope that someone is able to cover that series. Regardless, we're jumping into game number 2, and Creator looking strong so far. Looking strong, going for a gate expand. Beyond going for a double gas opener. Okay, double gas opener out of Beyond, something more aggressive. This does lead into a faster factory. It leads into a delayed CC on the low ground. So a much more aggressive build here by Beyond. We'll see what he has in store for us. We'll see what he does bring to the table here. Where are we going? Where are we headed? Probe Scout, of course, does confirm both gases. Creator knows to take more defensive stance. Probe are going to be skirting the edge of the map here towards the left-hand side. Going for a proxy pylon. Oh my god. Creator, calm down. Beyond is looking for proxies, by the way. He's checking his third base locations, but he's not checking the fourth base. He does not get eyes on the pylon. Beyond going for a CC on the high ground, and he's opening up Widow. Wait, what? Opening up Widow Mine. He's going for a committed mine drop. Okay. Now, this could be a committed mine drop, or this could be 2 Widow Mines with Mass Marine as a drop. I'm curious if the Marines will come alongside the Widow Mines with the drop play. This is something that Maru and Beyond have been quite fond of. They have been playing around with it together. But before we can get into drop play, we have 2 gateways back at home, and Creator throws down a 3rd gateway. It's going to be a 3-gate opener with a proxy across the map. Creator being hyper aggressive here. Beyond does slip in. Big scout. Big moment here for Beyond. Does get into the main base. Does get eyes on another gateway. Reaper goes down. Beyond, he has a piece of the puzzle. Yeah, he's going straight for the Cyclone. Widow Mine getting in position here at the natural, at the ramp. I assumed it was going to be a mine drop, but my apologies. This is going to be a Cyclone drop. Something more modern. Makes sense. This is a more modern build. Cyclone drops have been quite prevalent here in the new meta. They do amazingly when it comes to shutting down the economy and killing probes. Killing workers in general. Cyclones are terrifying. And they are moving out. Interesting, only moving out with 1. So usually the Terran player would wait for the second Cyclone and move out. Ooh, big mine shot does go off. Taking down one of those Adepts. Cyclone does get across the map. Do we have anything to defend back at home? We have 1 Adept. Do force a warp in. 2 probes go down. Good damage so far here by Beyond. As we force another warp in into the main base. At the same time, Beyond expanding on the low ground. Keeping up with the army, forcing micro to take place here on both fronts. Decent target firing out of Creator. He does swat away the drop. Does focus down the Cyclone. Very big pickup. Very nicely done. Remember, these are vanilla Marines. They don't have stim. They don't have combat shields. The Cyclone was really the main backbone of the army. As Beyond is forced back. Behind this, we're getting into tank production, getting into a 3-1-1 setup. Pretty standard setup here on 2 bases. So far, the drop play hasn't really been worth it for Beyond. But again, I believe that he pulled away from committing to the drop in favor of defending against the push, which was worth it. He does defend, does deflect Creator. As he gets another 2 probes. Very nice damage done here by Beyond. But it looks like he will finally be shot. Oh my god, finally gets shut down. Medevac falls, the Cyclone as well. Good cleanup at a Creator. And now we can get into his 3-base economy. 3rd Nexus is in production, has been scouted. And we have our tech of choice, Blink. It's going to be Blink Stalkers here out of Creator. Unfortunately, he wanted to be more aggressive, but he was denied that, and especially with this bunker and the tank on the low ground, we can't really break in. Not into the natural, at least. The main base is maybe a little bit more exposed. We dive on the tank! No fear whatsoever. The tank goes down. The bunker as well. Repair's not fast enough. The repairs are not there in time. Marines are trying to break through, but remember, they have vanilla Marines. 3 SCVs go down. Marines as well. Oh, and Creator, he is taking control of that natural base. Trying to at least. That bunker? That tank holding on. Barely holding. Behind this, Creator going for a gateway heavy composition, working towards charge. 4th gateway on the way as well. As we blink behind the gas geyser, we're getting caught out though. Yeah, blink still on cooldown, just barely coming off. Good target firing out of Creator, but does lose a lot of stalkers. Yeah, a bit of a blundered blink. 5 stalkers go down. Pretty expensive loss there for Creator. And this position is becoming more and more secure. Beyond now on 2 tanks. I would love to see a bunker as well, just to be safe. Beyond, he's cutting corners, being a little bit greedy. Stim is now done. To be fair, with the completion of the Stim, we don't need the bunker. Don't need the bunker, not anymore. Beyond, he is secure. And Creator, he's establishing his 3rd. Getting his 3rd up and running. Gateway explosion. He's head up towards 8 gateways. We have the river production well underway for Immortal production as well. First Immortal has arrived. And the goal for Creator is just to contain. Oof. Big volley. But the goal is to contain the Terran as best we can. Beyond does go for the Stim. Goes for the dive. Gets a Stalker. Gets 1, gets 2. 2 Stalkers do go down. Behind this Creator, now he's working towards the splash damage. The Bay is on the way. Forge for +1. A Bay should be for Colossus. We're getting in towards the mid game. Now, Byun still, I believe, has yet to throw down a 3rd, which is interesting. I'm curious. I'm keeping my eye on the production. How hard will we commit? Do we throw down 2 more Raxes, go up to 5 on 2 bases for a 2-base all-in, or do we throw down a 3rd CC? Without the Raxes, it feels like we're going to be throwing down a 3rd CC on location as we move out. That's the feeling that I'm getting, but we'll see. Creator, he does get supply blocked. Oh, the boys are being... We're going for the all-in. I'm like, there's no 3rd CC yet. We should throw it down, right? No, Papa. We go for the 2-base all-in. The boys are being pulled. The Observer does miss it, by the way. Creator, he does miss the... He does see the army, but he does miss the boy pool. Creator is on the high ground, though. He has force fields. There's no pushing up this ramp. Not easily. And there we go. The army has been revealed. Force field, not ideal. Does slow the army down, but doesn't really cut it up. Colossus is in production. Shield batteries are on the way. The rocks have been knocked down. Across the map, Zella run by wreaking havoc here, disrupting the economy and the reinforcements. This area, though, it's too wide open. Byun, loading a snowball out of control, does bust in. Overcharge is popped, and the Colossus arrives just in time. Now, bold move here. We have 1 Colossus into a Disruptor, not a 2nd Colossus. Crazy. Can we pull this off? Tank fire going off here. We're breaking through. The Colossus putting in a lot of work, but is it going to be enough? We dive on top of the Colossus. The Disruptor. If the Nova does not go off, does not connect. And Byun, he may just have too much. Boys are being pulled. The Zealots from behind. They come in from behind. A lot of probes are falling. And even with the boy pool, it's not going to be enough. We camp the production. Robo goes down. Byun is completely all in. Can we warp in another wave of Zealots? Just 1 wave of Zealots is all we need. That's easier said than done. Yeah, we're being forced further and further back. Reinforcements, they arrive just in time. Can we focus down the tanks? It's so close. We get 1. We got 1 tank. We have both tanks, but there's just too much Marines. Too many Marines, too many Marauders. Byun has done it. He has broken through. The all-in was successful. GG gets called, and we force the ace match. GG, well played. Again, oh god, the force field initially was a little bit lackluster for Creator. Unfortunately, just barely wasn't able to get up a defense in time. The Disruptor wasn't worth it. You saw the Disruptor died instantly. Not a single Nova did connect. And to be fair, it's unlikely that the Colossus, if it was a Colossus, that would have dealt even more damage. It would have been rough. Would have been rough regardless of what was made. And now we're getting into game number 3. We're getting to the ace match. All the way, Bobby. All the way. Creator, he's saying that if he he's saying that if he hadn't harassed, if he hadn't warped in across the map, he probably wins. Like if only he had his zealots back at home. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, it was a close defense. It was a very close defense. But they're just talking about the game. Yeah, he's talking about he's talking about like even if he's going for his zealot counterattacks, even though he's killing SCVs, like it doesn't matter. Like the the all-in is still going strong, and he's gonna die anyway. So yeah, they're just discussing the end of that game, both Beyond and Creator. Again, they're good friends. For those that remember, for those that do recall, these two players, they used to be on the same team. They used to be on Prime way back when. And I'm pretty sure they're still good friends. Based on this discussion, yeah. They're laughing with each other. But yeah, old friends from times gone by. Yeah, that's why Beyond and Maru are good friends as well. I mean, I say Beyond Maru and Creator, they all used to be on Prime together. They're all good friends as a result. Many years later. It's really cool to see. Really cool to see. The nostalgia. And here we go. We're getting into our next game. We're getting into the ace match, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. It is Beyond. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss representing Club NV. It is Creator. Basically, Creator was talking about how like if only I didn't like harass across the map, if I had everything back at home. Likewise, I just he was talking about his Warp Prism, right? Like he had the Warp Prism across the map. If he had it back at home to juggle, to preserve his Colossus, to save his Haddock units as well, to add some extra micro, like yeah, there's a lot of potential there if he had his Prism and his Zelts back at home. And he's saying like, I'm so silly for not doing that. And then Beyond's like, yeah, you're silly. It's like, next time you'll get me, Papi. Next time. Shaking my head. Yeah, they're just bantering. As we are easing our way in. This time, of course, we do have Beyond setting up with his Rax on the high ground. A single gas has been taken. This is looking to be a Rax expand economic opener out of Beyond, as opposed to the previous game, which was more aggressive. Remember, last game it was double gas into a faster factory. This time, Rax expand CC on the high ground, though. It is going to be a little bit delayed, but it is going to be safer as a result. Beyond, he won't be disrupted by that probe, and it will get his CC on the way in the main. Meanwhile, Creator is in the dark a little bit here. Okay, he confirmed. He confirmed the single gas. Creator, he's aware. And this probe is on a journey. It's on a mission. Where are we going? Ooh, meanwhile, Beyond, he skips the Reaper. Bold move. So, because Beyond skips the Reaper, he cannot chase down the probe. He cannot hunt it down. He cannot look for it. The Marine is stuck at home. Beyond also doesn't SCV scout. For those that are curious, this is very common with Beyond, both Beyond and Maru. Both Beyond and Maru, they rarely SCV scout in a TVP. And as a result, Creator, he can get away with some cheese. I mean, I say some cheese. He can get away with a proxy. It's going to be a proxy Stargate. With this Stargate play, Creator is going for a fast Oracle. He's going to be headed in towards the main base. He's going to be looking for some economic damage here in the main of Beyond. As Adepts are moving out. Adepts going to be harassing the natural. Meanwhile, the probe comes back in for a scout, getting eyes on the timing of the natural base. Marines, they do move down to the low ground. But the Adepts are here. Oh, who traps who? The Adepts, they do catch these Marines. And all three of them should go down. Good cleanup here, but here comes the Cyclone. Cyclone makes it just in time, but we drag the Cyclone out of position, and with this we can go in with the Oracle. A little bit mistimed. The Oracle's still on the way, but we do confirm the Cyclone. Once again, just like game number 1, we're heading towards a Cyclone drop variation. Or sorry, game number 2. Ooh, meanwhile, that's a lot of gateways. Second and third gateway on the way. This is not normal. We're committing quite hard here. Creator looking to be very aggressive. He's waiting for the second Oracle as well. The first is already done. Cyclone drop moves out. Creator should be getting in position. He has 2 Adepts. He has a shield battery. Cyclone does arrive. Oh, and he's going to get some probe damage. 2 workers do go down. And do we have a warp in? Warp gates aren't done. Warp gate's not done yet. 4 probes fall. Again, Cyclones, they annihilate workers so quickly. But we get into the main. We get into the main base. SCVs are going down as well. Creator doing a nice amount of counter damage. He gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3, he gets 4. 4 SCVs. 4 SCVs in Marine, and even more workers at the National. Oh my god, Beyond out of position. Not where he needs to be. We'll lose an Oracle though. Good pick off. Bit of a lapse in control from Creator. So suddenly that wasn't as worth it. Looking at the units lost tab. He killed 7 SCVs, yes, but for an Oracle, that's, I would say, almost an even trade. Cyclones, they catch 2 gateway units as well. This one Cyclone achieving so much. At the same time, though, we actually get some more SCVs. Is that another... It was, okay. I was like, was that another Oracle? It was. It was another Oracle here. Getting extra 3 workers. Oracle's racing back home. Trying to chase down this drop, chase down this Cyclone. Again, it's been a very chaotic start. A very chaotic game so far here by our players. And eventually this Cyclone is going to go down. Eventually. As it does take quite some time for Phoenix to kill a medevac. Again, good lock on here on the Phoenix, and it looks like, we should finally bring it down. Barely. We get the Cyclone at least, but no, the medevac does escape. Beyond does escape with the medevac. It is going to be racing back home. Meanwhile, speaking of back at home, we are building ourselves up towards a 2-1-1, towards a now 3-1-1 setup. And very early tank production. A very aggressive push here from Beyond. Moving out without stim, by the way. But we are pulling the boys. Boys, they have been pulled here. They're going to be repairing this medevac, and I imagine pushing with this. Yep, there we go. We are pushing with this attack. 2 tanks, now 3 tanks here from Beyond. Very committed and very late scouts. Very late reaction from a Creator. Does see the tanks, does see the army. Phoenixes are on, sorry, sentries are on the way. Where are the force fields? They're not able to be thrown down. Not in time. We do collapse here on top of the army. Overcharge is popped. Overcharge putting in some work, but it gets depowered. No shot, it gets depowered, and Beyond, he's doing it, is breaking through. We're trying to flank the army, but the tanks, they just annihilate that flank of Creator. Without the overcharge, there's just not enough here. There's not enough to defend. The boys are being pulled. Stalkers, they try to come in from the right-hand side. We do lift up one of the tanks. Oh, it's so close, but there's so many Marines. The tanks are barely going down. There's one tank left. 23 probes did fall. And can we survive? Another tank rocks up. Not like this. And the tank does so much here to the Stalkers. GG gets called. It's too much. The natural race has been broken. And Björn will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semifinals. GG. GG, well played. Björn with the all-ins. 2 base all-in in game 2. 2 base all-in here in game number 3 as well. Pull the boys. Björn clearly inspired by the most honorable of monorables. Clearly inspired by Hon Mono. GG, well played. Björn does take it in the end. My condolences to Creator. He had a good showing. Honestly, game 2 was close. Game 2, Creator barely didn't hold. And he was kind of scolding himself as well in the aftermath, talking about how he barely did not defend. But could have easily gone his way. Could have been a 2-0 in favor of Creator. Just barely wasn't. With that, Björn advances on, and we have a TVT in the lower semifinals. We have Björn versus Gumiho coming up next. Is going to be coming up next here as we do head on over, switch our scenes, !B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. If you guys want to get caught up on the happenings here of the tournament. Let's find out. Let us find out as we do head on over. Okay, from the top, Dark versus Hero, still ongoing. Still ongoing here in the upper semifinals to determine who makes it to the grand finals. Will be a Zerg or a Protoss? Yet to be determined. Meanwhile, we know one thing. There's going to be a Terran. There's going to be a Terran in the grand finals. Will it be Gumiho or Björn? That is the question. Björn just took down Creator. Now he's up against Gumiho in that TVT. And we're going to be going on a short break. Of course, we're going to be casting this TVT in the lower semifinals, as well as the grand finals thereafter. A bit of a shorter broadcast today. A little bit of a shorter broadcast. Again, a bit of a smaller turnout because some of our regulars are in the midst of traveling. They are in the midst of traveling. When I have a... They're in the midst of traveling, and we do have confirmation that we have an ace match. We have an ace match between Hero and Dark. They're just now starting game 3. I do have the option to join game 3 of Hero versus Dark, but we've been casting Gumiho, we've been casting Björn. It makes sense for us to follow them into the TVT. I know that mirror matchups aren't as popular as more diverse matchups like ZVP and ZVT and PVT even, but you know, it makes sense. We want to follow our players. We want to follow them back. We want to follow them. So we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here, and when we return, we will have our lower semifinals. We'll see you soon. We will see you soon. Until then, take this moment to... Take this very quick moment to get some snacks, get some water, get some food, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds with the lower semifinals. See you then. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back again. Very short break, as we did actually find a lobby almost immediately. Vetoes are done, and we're diving into the lower semifinals. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player. The blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Bjorn. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the other blue Korean Terran player. Sorry, the red Korean Terran representing Team Na'Vi. It is Gumiho. Here we go. Hold on, I'm responding to a video. Just responding to a comment in our lovely YouTube chats. Someone's asking, doesn't Hero win this every week? Not true. Hero, he mainly wins KSL. KSL's, that's Hero's wheelhouse. ESL Asia, it's more up in the air. You know, we have a lot of Cure wins, Bjorn, Solar, Dark, Creator, Hero, Coffee, DRG. For ESL Asia, yeah, it's a lot more diverse when it comes to who does claim these wins. Fun fact, in this season of ESL Asia, Dark has won the majority of the time. It's been Dark, followed by Hero, followed by Bjorn, then Cure, then Classic, then Creator, then Gumiho. So that's the current hierarchy of ESL Open Cup Asia. So we'll see if Dark can get another win. We'll see if another will rise up instead, as we are getting into this series, into our TVT. Going to be a Rax Expand here by Bjorn, Economic Opener. We have a Double Gas Opener at a Gumiho. So I appreciate that we already have quite a divergence here in builds and in approaches. So Gumiho is going more aggressively for a faster factory, into faster just tech in general. Bjorn being more economic with a very fast natural base. I mean, I say very fast. Fast in comparison to Gumiho, who just now starts his. So we've taken our roles. Gumiho coming across the map with his first Reaper. SCV comes in, oh, but a bit of miscontrol. Gumiho loses the Reaper and the SCV here for nothing. Big trade, big moment for Bjorn. He can go for a big counterattack, gets across the map, and ideally delay the CC on the low ground. Cyclone is on the way. Second Reaper as well, but Bjorn, he bypasses the Reaper. Okay, Gumiho, he pulls back. He does pull back home, thankfully, and Gumiho should be able to defend. Again, if he had moved out, then 100% the CC would be delayed. It may still be, by the way. As we get into the natural, SCV gets focused out. We get a kill. We get to kill the SCV, and Bjorn, he's in the driver's seat. Gets a full scout as well. Does confirm the 1-1-1. Does confirm the late CC. Bjorn is fully aware of what's going on. He's aware of his advantages as he's getting into his own 1-1-1 setup. One Rax, one Factory, one Starport, working towards a Cyclone drop. Again, Cyclones are quite a pivotal part of TVT nowadays. That is true. That's a sad reality here, but Cyclones, if you don't make them, then you can just die. I should say, if you don't make Cyclones and if your opponent does, well then the Cyclones, they win, buddy. They win. So you can see here, reactored Cyclone production for Gumiho. Likewise, reactored Cyclone production for Bjorn. Now, this doesn't have to lead into just pure Cyclone wars. Typically, we build up towards 10 or 12 Cyclones each, and then we transition away from Cyclones into a more bio-heavy composition instead. Into something more bio-heavy. As here we go, the Cyclone drop is moving out at the same time. Cyclone drop comes in for Bjorn, but he only has one. Only one Cyclone. Juggling is good, but the amount of Cyclones is better here for Gumiho. As the medevac barely does escape, barely does make it out. At the same time, it was a multi-pronged attack. We do have a Hellion dipping into the mineral line, into the natural base, into the mineral line. Ooh, and we get 3 SCVs. Pretty good, actually. Very nicely done. 3 SCVs go down for a Hellion of all things, as Hellions do not scale well into the mid-game whatsoever. So with that, Bjorn has a 10 worker lead. A massive economic lead here. Ooh, did lose his medevac though. But speaking of, we trade medevac for medevac. The Raven! Better trade for Gumiho. Kind of. So we trade medevac for medevac. Gumiho, he snipes the Raven. Meanwhile, Bjorn snipes the Cyclones of Gumiho. So some really rough trades for both players. But again, Bjorn has a massive economic lead, and he's extending it by going for a very fast third CC. Third CC almost halfway done. Third CC just now starting on location for Gumiho. Gumiho, he knows he's behind. That's why he has his third on location. It's a risky move. It is bold, but he has to take a chance here to catch back up. Meanwhile, Cyclones are pushing. Gumiho has a 1 Cyclone lead. 5-4. He's pushing in. Good target firing. Does get 1. Ooh, trading 1 for 1. Gets a good amount of SCVs though. Remember, Beyond, he was up 10 workers. Now he just lost 5. Just lost 5 workers. Gumiho, he's catching up. He is slowly catching up here. As I say that, because of the faster third CC, Beyond maintains his economic lead. Getting into his transition, working towards tank production already. Ooh, Beyond, he's cutting Cyclone production. Really early, actually. He's cutting Cyclone production. Meanwhile, Gumiho, he made an extra wave, and he's continuing to make more Cyclones. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned for Beyond. One, Beyond, he already lost the Raven, so no more auto turrets. He's going to be down in Cyclones, does have a tank. That is true, but that is the power of the Raven. This push from Gumiho is going to be deadly. The reason why, Ravens can disable tanks. Disable was researched. Oh, never mind. No, yeah, there it is. Disable is on the way. It was cancelled earlier, actually, so it is delayed. Delayed disable here. Delayed interference matrix for Gumiho. Once it does kick in, we can push in, but this is later than normal. This upgrade is pretty late. Beyond should be okay. Should be okay behind this. As Gumiho is pushing. Again, this push would be so much more deadly with interference matrix. Halfway done. As time goes on, we have a second tank though. We have a bunker and more marines. Stim is halfway done. Ooh, and a massive Cyclone counterattack here. 40, oh my, it's only a matter of seconds. You can see how much DPS Cyclones do have, and 15 SCVs go down the entire middle line. A Raven as well. A Raven full of energy. Beyond, he may have been down heavily in Cyclone production, but he pulls off a massive counterattack. Ay, ay, ay. And just like that, Gumiho, he's crippled. His economy is crippled. He has to push. Also, I do apologize. I can barely see the minimap. I'll be honest. I barely can't see it. And GG gets called. There's no pushing in. We have a line of tanks. Bjorn takes game number 1. GG. Things were looking dire. Things were looking a little bit shaky there for Bjorn. I was concerned when it came to the eventual push of Gumiho. But no, Bjorn, he slips in with a handful of Cyclones and he just eviscerates the mineral line of Gumiho, forces him all in. And with a tank line, especially after Gumiho lost the Raven, there was no way. There was no way to pull off the all-in. There was no way to break his opponent. Bjorn was in control. Bjorn takes a 1-0 lead. Here we go. And now we're getting into game number 2. Again, I do apologize for missing the run-by, the Cyclone run-by initially. Those unaware, I think there are people mentioning it in the chat. People mentioning in the chat. But yeah, I'm casting off of a laptop. And unfortunately, the minimap is far smaller than normal. So I've been struggling casting these past couple of days to keep up with like drop play or like drops and run-bys. It is something that I've noticed. So I do apologize. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Hard Lead, we have our South Korean Terran player leading the series 1-0, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Bjorn. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the red Terran player representing Na'Vi. It is Gumiho. Here we go. Cam froze. Great, guys. Oh, as Bjorn, let's look to spice things up. Doing what Bjorn does best, we are heading for a proxy 2x. 2 SCVs have moved out across the map, And we are going for our proxy. Let's go. Raxus have been thrown down. Gumiho, thankfully, is going for a 2-gas opener. Now, what this means is that Gumiho is going for a faster factory, means faster Hellions, means that he won't be caught with his pants down. Gumiho, he has the tools to defend. If he had gone for an economic opener, if he had gone for a Rax expand, then Gumiho would be in a bit of trouble. He would be in a bit of trouble, but alas, thankfully for Gumiho and unfortunately for Bjorn, Gumiho should be safe. I say should be safe because there's still going to be a window. There's still a window where Bjorn can deal damage. It's going to be on Gumiho to pull off the defense, to pull off the execution of his control. I'm catching up in the chat. Every tournament, the casters cast the same match at the same time when there are 2 different available, both super good. Yeah, it is a shame that there's no English coverage of Dark versus Hero. I believe Into the Inu, the Korean caster, he is casting that series, so you can check that out over on his channel. I do apologize, but again, we casted Gumiho earlier, we casted Bjorn earlier. I had assumed that Wardy was going to cast Hero versus Dark, but he didn't. So it is a bit unfortunate that didn't occur. You know, maybe next time we have like better luck when it comes to the casters splitting up. We always do our best to stay away from casters like Wardy and casters like Steadfast and like these other big names. We always do our best as we do delay the factory. That's the win condition here, to delay the factory for as long as we can. And we do focus down the Reaper, and Bjorn, he is forced out. And again, the factory is done, Hellion is on the way, and Gumiho will survive. Will survive as Bjorn is supply block. Now is not the time. Big supply block there for Bjorn, delaying his own Reaper production. And again, he is zoned away from the main base. Cyclone on the way. Hellion is out. With the arrival of the Hellion, we should be okay. As I say that, Reaper does fall. Reaper does fall. Big Hellion volley is going to be going off. The Marines go down. Good control here out of Bjorn. Does preserve his Reapers. Does pull away. But you can see that Bjorn is working on the next step. He knows that the aggression has ended. He knows that he won't be able to kill Gumiho. But again, we always do try to stay away from the other big casters, and most of the time we're successful. Sometimes, I mean, they decide to join us anyway, and like, what can we do? What can we do? But I do understand the frustrations. Do understand. This is why I love casting with Chicken Man. For those that are aware, whenever Chicken Man is available to cast Asia, we do message each other and we do let each other know where we want to go and what direction we want to head in, and we purposely avoid each other to cast both halves of the tournament, and then we meet up for the finals and we cast together in the grand finals. So that's why I appreciate working with Chicken Man for that reason. Unfortunately, there's not as much cohesion with all the casters, only with some, unfortunately. Like, who am I to tell like a pig or a warty to, like, you know, to leave a lobby and cast something else, you know? Like, that's not gonna happen. But here we go. We are getting into this again. The game is going to be settling from here. The game is going to be settling from here as we are going to be looking to try to push in. We do have our additional Cyclones. As I say that, Gumiho does have the Cyclone advantage. A lot of Reapers are here to sow to try to bait some of those lock-ons. Bjorn expanding on location, Gumiho doing the same. And from the Proxy 2X Reaper, we have now entered the mid-game. Entered the Cyclone phase, for Bjorn at least, as he's reactoring out as many Cyclones as he can. Gumiho, bold move. He cuts Cyclone production. He's going for tanks instead. As we do take control of the low ground, but the tank is in position. Gumiho locking onto the rocks. A bit of miscontrol. Gumiho doesn't notice. SCVs are going down. 10 workers go down. He is distracted by the main base. Liberator does arrive at the same time across the map. We have a Banshee rocking in. But Gumiho, he's pulled apart. He loses 10 SCVs across the map. Banshee has arrived, but the Master Repair is good enough. And this Banshee doesn't have Cloak. The Banshee is going to be shut down. Yeah, the Cyclones will clean it up. And across the map, Gumiho, he is down 10 workers. Again, just really unfortunate because of the Liberator in the main base. He was distracted, he was busy, and it meant that the natural was compromised. The natural was left so exposed, and Gumiho could barely keep up with the multitasking of Bjorn. Gumiho is being pulled apart, and as a result, Bjorn has a massive lead, a massive economic advantage. Drop comes in, drop is deflected. Drop is deflected. Here we go. Gumiho pushing out across the map with whatever he has left. He's all in at this point. Like, there's no turning back. There's barely an economy. It's all or nothing for Gumiho. As he does push forward. And here we go. The boys are being pulled. Boys are being pulled. There are 2 tanks with this. There's a lot of DPS, a lot of potential, but the juggling here from Bjorn does avoid some of those tank shots. Is it going to be enough, though? Up. Is it going to be enough? Just barely not. The all-in does succeed. Gumiho put everything on the line with that massive counterattack, and he does break through. GG gets called. We're going to the ace match. We are going all the way to game number 3. Let's go. GG again. Gumiho, he had lost everything back at home. It was all or nothing for him. And he does break through. Does break through in the end. God, the chat's getting rowdy. You're all animals, Papi. You're all animals. GG, well played. Meanwhile, we have confirmation. We do have an update from Inu as Inu has joined us. It is going to be Hero in the grand finals, waiting for the winner of this series. Hero did take down Dark 2-1. GG, well played. We have our finalists already set up, and who faces Hero in the grand finals? That is a real question. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Bjorn. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player representing Team Na'Vi. Clawing his way back in, pulling off that all-in as well in that last game. It is Gumiho. Tying up the series, forcing the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on Oceanborn. And a big shout out to Ash, bro, in the chat. Tal como está? Sound as well. No cheap TV? No. No cheap TV. And I'm not gonna buy a TV. I'm not gonna just buy a TV just to cast. Crazy. As here we go. We do have our openers taking place. Bjorn once again going for an economic opener, going for a Rax expand. We do have Gumiho back at home going for a double gas opener. Boy, aggression is upon us. Oh god. Alright, we're good. You're all animals in the chat. You're all animals. Here we go. As we are going for a Rax expand here by Bjorn. We are setting up for that economic opener. Again, we do have Gumiho opening up double gas. Fun fact, Gumiho has gone double gas every game so far in this series. Bjorn has been the one varying it up with either proxies or more economic openers. Here we go. As with this, he's going to be able to get into faster cycling production, I imagine. But I mean, hey, Gumiho, he proved last game one thing only, that you don't need mass cyclone to win a game. Tanks, they have their place, clearly. They still do, as Gumiho gets across the map, is swatted away. Bjorn will be able to collapse on that Reaper. Does force it back. Has to be careful not to overextend. Remember, Gumiho, he does have the fast recycling production. Bjorn just now getting into his own factory. Bunker on the low ground. And we are settling into our game. No one base all in or anything crazy like that. Gumiho, he joins the first Reaper with a second, moves out, but runs into a bunker. We'll try to get into the main base, but again, Bjorn is in position. And so far, solid defense here by Bjorn, getting into his 1-1-1 follow-up. Likewise, so is Gumiho, as starports are on the way. And we'll keep an eye on how our players want to take up and want to transition. I mean, I imagine we're going to be making an abundance of Cyclones. It has been very trendy to go for Cyclone drop play. We saw it from both Bjorn and Gumiho on Hecate. I imagine we're going to be seeing the same here. And there it is. Medevacs are in production by Gumiho. The Cyclone drop is soon to be upon us from the Red Terran. Meanwhile, Bjorn across the map, going for something different. He's crazy. Bjorn not making a single Cyclone. Does he know about the new patch? Does he? Oh my god. So Bjorn deviating away, going for something a little bit different here. Very early tank production out of Bjorn. The first is on the way. We're getting to Vikings behind this as well. And I imagine Bjorn is going to be working towards an earlier tank push. As he sets up defensively, Gumiho, he's moving out. Here comes the drop play. Double Cyclone drop, Liberator behind this as well, before he gets into his own tank production as well. Oh my god, how do they know? Gumiho just getting away from the Cyclones. Likewise, so is Bjorn, working towards tanks. Drop comes in, but Bjorn, he's in position, focuses down that medevac, and oh, it's so close. Gets a Cyclone, almost gets a medevac, and will force Gumiho back. A solid defense here by Bjorn. He was in position. Reading his opponent so well. But Gumiho doesn't want to go down without a fight. Is moving out once again with the rest of his army. Going to be joining up with the medevac. Medevac is quite low, but we've pulled a couple of boys we can repair. And Gumiho being so aggressive. Scan does reveal the tank production. Big moment there for Bjorn. He is aware. Behind this, Bjorn prioritizing Stim, getting into his 2-1-1 setup, building up quite a lot of tanks. He's got his 4th tank on the way. Meanwhile, 3rd TC gets thrown down by Gumiho on location. He is not pushing in, he's containing. Okay. Bold move by Gumiho. Rushing into that 3rd. Medevac is moving up. 3rd base is spotted. 3rd base is delayed. Gumiho is racing back home to deal with these Hellions. To deal with the Reaper. His army is revealed. And 3rd base on the way for Bjorn. It is going to be later than Gumiho, but not by too long. We also have that drop working its way towards the main base. Hellion somehow survives, gets some extra hits in. Doesn't kill much, but does soften up those SCVs. Oh, as we could try to slip in. Stim finishing up in a couple of seconds, but there's a tank in position. The base is safe. And the game is going to be settling from here. I mean, Bjorn is working on his 3rd. Bjorn is working on his double E-base. Is moving out with his army, that is true. And again, he has an abundance of tanks. How many tanks does Bjorn have? 5! 5 tanks here for Bjorn. We are pushing. You know, Gumiho is on 4. Down in tanks, but not by much. Not by much here. As the drop does get caught out. Oh, that's going to be a kill on the medevac. Massive pickoff. And now Gumiho, he can focus on the main push. He can focus on the main assault. Tank is in position. Bjorn does not find a way in. Bjorn rotating around. Trying to find a better angle of attack. Does take a shot to the face, but he drops into the natural. Yeah, he does commit. The tank's so many within range. Big volley's going to be going off. And Bjorn, he can take a fight. But the Liberator has arrived. The flanking Raven. 2 tanks, 3 tanks go down. We're down to 2. And Bjorn, he will have to retreat. This endeavor just wasn't worth it in the end. Didn't trade well with his tanks. Didn't break through into the mineral line. And Bjorn does have to fall back. Behind this, though, we have 3-base saturation. Both players have comparable economies. Upgrades, of course, on the way, working towards Stim. It is going to be Bio Tank from both Gumiho and Byeon. We're not getting into Mech, thankfully. No Mech in sight. And we're going for a drop-heavy style from Byeon. What he's known for, what he was known for last patch. Just skipping out on Vikings, not really too concerned with air control and going for mass drop play instead. A much more mobile composition. Meanwhile, Gumiho working towards, I imagine, Vikings and Liberators. He has one Lib at least. No Viking production yet. Ooh, going into his own medevacs. Medevacs are on the way. Tanks are repositioning. 4cc on the way for both Byeon and Gumiho. As Byeon does try to drop into that main base. As the drop is going to be able to pick off a gas, guys. Oh, we're within range. We are within range. Medevacs barely to escape. Thankfully, Stim isn't done for Gumiho. Thankfully for Byeon. Otherwise, that Medevac would have gone down. At the same time, his main army is pushing out towards the left. Likewise, towards the double drop. So drop play is upon us. Byeon will miss it. And doesn't have much at home to defend. He is rallying across the map, not preserving units back at home. So there is potential with this drop. Gumiho can slip in. Byeon has a spotter depot, has the center tower, of course, has some time to react. But here we go, is pushing forward. Big anti-armor missile here on the army. Massive anti-armor, but it doesn't matter. He does push in. Where are the Marines? The Marines are across the map instead. Tanks are going down, and Byeon, he forces his way in towards the natural. These Marines, they weren't back at home, and they don't push out across the map. As Byeon, he pushes in towards the natural, camping the production, trying to at least. We're running out of Marines. The tanks are exposed, and Gumiho, he does get into the mineral line. The CC is under fire, but we have reinforcements. Byeon, he will defend. He shuts down the medevacs. Shuts everything down. Both medevacs fall, and Byeon does escape with a couple of those tanks. All in all, both players have comparable economies. Neither player really lost many SCVs, but Gumiho, he did lose a lot of tanks. What do we have left? Taking stock here. Oh, he lost some tanks, he lost some Marines. Gumiho is down in the tank count, but only by 1, but he's down heavily in Marines. He's got 21 Marines to the 43 of Byeon. The Marine count heavily in favor of the Blue Terran. Drop into the main. Gumiho out of position. See Byeon trying to bait Gumiho into tank fire. Trying to at least. Meanwhile, Liberator getting a little damage done here on the 4th base. Gumiho's own 4th, untouched so far. He's untouched as Byeon does have that upgrade lead as well. 3-3 on the way for the Blue Terran. 2-2 still in production here for Gumiho. Byeon is looking for a way in, but does get caught out. Tank does fall. Marines as well. Byeon a little bit overstimmed. He does have that Marine advantage. As Byeon is the first player to max out. But can he make use of this army? Again, doesn't have that upgrade lead like he once did. Or he's not up in upgrades. Maybe a better way of putting it. He's rotating around. Tanks are in position. Volley's going to be going off. Oh, massive anti-armor missile as well. Yeah, Byeon, he cannot push in. So far, Gumiho looking solid. Getting into Liberators. Libs are on the way. Byeon being forced back, throwing down 3 C. Oh my god, 3 CCs here for Byeon. But there is going to be a window. There's going to be a big window when Bjorn has 3-3 and his opponent doesn't. And once again, we are pushing in. Where the Marines, they're not here. Gumiho going for a massive Doom Drop. He gets caught out of position. Now was not the time. We do break through towards the third base. Bjorn can keep pushing at the same time, though. Here comes the Doom Drop. Towards the main, towards the natural. Gumiho does kill an entire mineral line. SCVs are going down. And he denies 3-3. Both 3-3 does get denied. Massive pickups here from Gumiho. The upgrades will not finish. But he will lose everything. Tanks, they were left behind. Bjorn did not touch the third base. He did break through, did kill the tanks, but did not touch the economy. And now Gumiho has a massive economic lead, and he will have 3-3. Meanwhile, Bjorn will not. Meanwhile, Bjorn, he is committed. Can't quite push in. Tanks are going to go down for free. Not for Marines. And Bjorn is in a rough place. Suddenly, the turns have tabled in one fell swoop. One Doom Drop is all it takes sometimes. And Bjorn, he's lost his economy. He's lost his upgrade lead. He's lost his tank lead as we're even in tanks. Oh, as Bjorn, he leaves the tanks exposed. 2 tanks go down. And Bjorn caught out of position there. Rough movement. As Gumiho, he's going for the drop once again. 4 medevacs full of Marines. Scan does reveal the army. Gumiho, no fear, does go for the drop. There's a planetary in position. We do have some turrets and a medevac of Marines. So Bjorn, he's somewhat prepared for this. Scanning, looking for another base. Both players checking each other. Trying to catch each other out. 3-3 is done for Gumiho. Does kick in. A Doom Drop, we do commit. And where are the Marines? There were Marines here, but no longer. Tanks, they do turn back around. 14 SCVs go down. Gumiho does collide with the army. Remember, his Marines are superior. And Gumiho, he does take a better fight. Gets on top of the tanks, cleans up Bjorn across the map. And Gumiho, he can keep on pushing. Bjorn, he's racing back home. Big tank. Oh my god, massive tank volleys though. But again, that was a kill on the natural. That was 14 dead workers. Gumiho maintains his economic advantage, getting another CC up and running. And Bjorn still in some trouble here. He's going for his own triple drop. Meanwhile, Gumiho pushing right through the center towards the planetary. Bjorn is keeping up, but does go for the dive. A bit of an anti-timing. Bjorn, his upgrades aren't ready for this. 3-3 is still 5 seconds away. And Gumiho takes a better fight. Shuts down the tanks on the higher ground, within range of the planetary as well. Bjorn trying to get a surround going. Does catch some tanks. Oh my god. 2, 3, 4 tanks go down, but it's not going to be enough. Gumiho, he still breaks through nonetheless. Gets on top of the tanks. Moves on towards the third base. Bjorn trying to catch reinforcements, but he's being caught out instead. Does take a better fight. Does have a better concave. The planetary is going to fall. Bjorn barely holding on back at home. Barely. As he drops on the tanks, trying to clean up, try to trade as efficiently as possible. And it looks like he will barely focus down the tanks. Bjorn, he's holding. Bjorn pulling off a bit of a miracle defense, but it's still not enough. Liberators, they come out just in time. And they shut down the tanks. Bjorn forces Gumiho back. Just barely. He did lose the base, though. He lost the base, lost workers. Bjorn down to 4 CC. Meanwhile, Gumiho, he's on, what, 4, 5, 6 bases. He's up 2 bases compared to Byun. Byun, he needs to counterattack, and he will. It does collapse on top of the 6th base. Boys are being pulled. Are we coming from behind? And Gumiho, he gets us around. He cleans up the Liberators. He preserves his base and his workers. Byun retreating with some medevacs, going for the drop with the others. Gumiho is keeping up. Gumiho is still in the driver's seat, but only just. I mean, I say that because of the base advantage, Gumiho, he is going to be able to max out faster. He's remaxing. Byun landing another CC on location. As the armies are clashing in the center of the map. Gumiho getting caught out. Again, upgrades are now even. And Byun, he has been finding some opportunities for himself. Like, the game is close enough where Byun can still swing things in his favor. He is establishing another base. Tanks are getting up and running. It is an orbital, not a planetary this time. As he comes in with his double drop, does catch Gumiho out of position. 3 SCVs go down. And can we get the base? Oh. Maybe not the base, but we can get workers. So we get another couple of SCVs. Medevac does escape. Gumiho trying to push through the center. Doesn't find a way in. Nobody wants the tanks. Does get them. Does get one tank, getting another. And really crisp pickups here by Gumiho, getting 2 tanks for a handful of Marines. Oh, does on siege. Byun trying to catch out a tank, doesn't get them. Has to do rotate around. Byun, he is the first to siege. We collapse on this army. Gumiho with the higher supply does take down the tank. But has Gumiho overextended? Barely gets 2 tanks, but he lost so many Marines. That was not a good fight. The tank volleys from Byun were insane. And Gumiho, he plummets in supply. It's not what he wanted, not what he was looking for. And for the first time in a long time, Byun takes a supply lead. Again, that was just a really rough fight for Gumiho. Byun re-establishing another base. Re-establishing his 5th. And Gumiho still up a base compared to his opponent. So even though Gumiho's been having some rough fights because of his economic lead, he has been able to replace his army to replenish. Things can still go either way. Byun, for the first time, pushing onto Gumiho's side of the map. For the first time in a long time. Does move out, and now Gumiho has to take a defensive position. He's not ready for it. Uh-oh. He's not ready for it. Sense Tower goes down. We shut down the base as well. It's a kill on the CC. Gumiho trying to keep up. Oh, big tank shots go off. Does pick up a tank as well. At the same time, a massive drop does get behind the army. SCVs are falling. Big up there out of Gumiho. He gets 9 workers, drops into the national base as well, getting a couple more SCVs alongside them. And Gumiho is pushing. Gets 13 SCVs, dropping in towards the main, and dragging Byun out of position. And Gumiho picks up another tank. Okay, he's pulling back. He's pulling back for now. Tanks are getting in position. Drop still active, finally cleaned up here, but not before 14 SCVs went down. Gumiho being so proactive here, catches another tank. Gets 1, he's gonna get another. 2 more tanks to go down. Being forced back to the safety of his own tank line. Is that friendly fire? I think so. Now, at least Bjorn has been forcing fights and has been avoiding anything here towards his mining base. His last mining base is barely anything here. Bjorn desperately needs another expansion. He goes for the Mule Hammer. A massive amount of mules here from Bjorn. Desperately needs it to actually build up his army. Gets a tank. Gimme her. Getting another base up and running. Or sorry, it's been up and running for a while. We'll need another soon. Oh god, as Bjorn is a bit overstimmed as well. Gumio, he can take a fight. He collapses on the Marines. So many Marines do go down. The Vikings as well, the SCVs and the Mules. That's a kill on the orbital. And Bjorn, even though he was clawing his way back in, it's the economy. That's the problem right now. No money, no minerals, no resources left. And Bjorn is being pulled apart. He's running out of steam. And Gumiho, he can go for days, Bobby. He can do this all day. Another CC in production here. It's going to be denied. But Gumiho, he is pushing. Bjorn trying to keep up. But Gumiho, if he wanted to, he could push towards these bases. The main base, he can go for the kill. Bjorn one step behind, being zoned away. Oof, oh my god. Oh my god. Massive tank volleys go off. Gumiho bleeding out a lot of Marines. Does bleed out a lot of Marines, but he's catching tanks nonetheless. There we go. He drops into that natural. Drops towards the fort. And what can Bjorn do? What can he do? He's just stuck outside the bases. I mean, he's mining from fresh bases now. Or he does have a fresh mining base. But what about his production? What about the main? That's Gumio. He finds the SCVs. No. Does find the workers. 13, 15, 18 SCVs go down. Oh my god. We focus down the CC as well. Getting whatever value we can. And Bjorn is being picked apart at this point. It's impressive that Bjorn was able to hold on for as long as he did, despite Gumiho's advantages this game. Bjorn has been holding on, but only for so long here. The final mining base of Bjorn has been shut down. There's nothing left for the economy. There's actually no mining. Zero income here for Bjorn. He's mining gas. That's all he's got. He has some gas working for him, but nothing else. You see Bjorn trying to keep up here. I mean, he has a comparable army. Somewhat comparable. He has the tank lead. He has tanks. He has liberators. He has a fighting chance, Copium. He can win a fight, but I don't know if he can win the war. That's the problem right now. So we deny any kind of mining here, any kind of semblance of economy. Bjorn landing another CC towards the left-hand side, muling his heart out. Trying to get some mining going. But Gumiho can just avoid him. Yeah, he can just avoid the main army. Yeah, he's going for the production instead. Collapses on the third base. Catches a medevac. And Gumiho, he has the high ground. Liberators will make this awkward. We'll get a tank. But I'll be honest, yeah, Gumiho, we can just push in towards the main. We can push in towards the main base. Barely anything stopping him. Tanks are sieging. Bjorn pushing forward. Again, Bjorn trading very efficiently here. As efficiently as possible. And now here we go. We commit. Gumiho collapses on the army, sims on forward, gets some of the tanks. The Liberators are sieging, but there's just not enough here to support for Bjorn. Not enough to support the tanks or the Liberators, and everything gets cleaned up. And that's going to be all she wrote. We have some reinforcements coming out, but Bjorn barely has an army. He barely has anything left. Boys are being pulled. And GG is called. Gumiho takes the series 2-1. And Gumiho advances on to the grand finals to face off against Hero. GG. GG, well played, Gumiho. Able to come out on top here against Bjorn. Again, Bjorn, he had a close series against Creator earlier, and here against Gumiho went all the way to the ace match as well. But alas, Gumiho was able to take a massive lead earlier. Basically, Bjorn was looking good until the Doom drop. If you remember, it happened like 15 minutes ago. It was a while ago, so I don't blame you if you forgot. I almost did. If you remember, Gumiho, he went for a quadruple quadruple Doom drop into the pocket base, into the natural base of Bjorn. And in that moment, he killed an entire mineral line, and he also killed two E base, and he denied 3-3. He denied 3-3. He took away the advantage that Bjorn had. Bjorn, he was up in workers, he was up in upgrades. There was so much going for Bjorn, but Gumiho just stripped that away from him in one fell swoop. And from that moment, then suddenly Gumiho was in the driver's seat. Gumiho was ahead in almost every aspect, outside of maybe tank production. And Bjorn was trying to fight back. He was on the back foot. Unfortunately, barely couldn't recover, and eventually was starved out. As we saw, Bjorn just had no economy to sustain himself, was losing base after base, SCV after SCV. Gumiho was just all over him. Impressive stuff. Very impressive stuff there. GG. Congratulations to Gumiho. My condolences to Bjorn as he is eliminated from the tournament. And up next, we have a PvT Hero versus Gumiho coming up next. We're going to be going on a short break. Videos are on the way, and when we return, we'll have our final series of the broadcast. We'll have the grand finals. See you soon. Take this moment, hydrate your hydras, stretch your roaches, massage your marines, and marinate your marauders. We'll be back momentarily with our PvT. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST. But we have returned with the grand finals, the grand finale, papi, of ESL Open Cup Asia number 213. It's been a wild ride. It's been quite a tournament, but it all ends here. It all ends in a best of 5. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss representing CranKy Gaming. It is Hero. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran, representing his new team Na'Vi. It is Gumiho. We go. Again, our PVT is upon us. Our grand finals is upon us. Hero. It happened off screen, unfortunately, or at least it happened over on Inu's channel, but Hero was up against Dark in the semifinals. They went all the way to the ace match, and Hero did take down Dark 2-1. Again, Inu was casting that over on his own Twitch channel. Meanwhile, we were busy with our own lower semifinals instead, with our own TBT. And we'll see if Gumiho can make this work, if he can go for a deep, or if he can go the distance here. Hero, of course, is coming in as the best Protoss in Korea, off the back of a second place run in Masters Coliseum. If you missed out on it, check out the VODs, because Masters Coliseum was crazy, it was wild, it was an intense tournament, and Hero had a very, very good showing there. Alas, can Gumiho keep up? What is Gumiho's form looking like leading into IEM? That is the question. What is he looking like? For now, Racks Expand. Economic opener out of Gumiho, going for a CC on location. Meanwhile, Hero does confirm this, does spot this, does skirt around the edge of the natural base with that probe. He is hiding from the Reaper. Oh, but the Reaper does check, does come across him, and the probe is going to get shut down. Hero, he sucked it in. He was trying to hide, but alas, does get caught. And with that, Gumiho can now freely move out across the map and go for a scout. So, good moves out of Gumiho. Behind this, we have a very interesting opener. Oh my god, that is a second Rax. That is a second Rax before Starport. A very aggressive build here from Gumiho, delaying his Starport, delaying any kind of drop play in favor of mass Marine or additional units, additional upgrades, additional army size here from Gumiho. So a very aggressive follow-up. This can eventually lead into a 2-base all-in with a 3-1-1 setup, with a third Rax before Starport. Doesn't have to be all-in, but it can be. As Hero is in the dark, he dips in with his Adept. He does confirm at least the factory, but doesn't see much else. Meanwhile, Reapers across the map, harassing and chipping away at those probes. Looks like the Adept does get a second SCV. But have we scouted is a question. Looking at the vision here of Gumiho, he has not gone behind the mineral line, not yet. Is forced out of the main. Meanwhile, Cyclone does actually shut down that Adept as well. As the Adept does shade back home. And we are trying to hunt down that Reaper, by the way. We do try to cut it off, but no, the Reaper does barely manage to escape. Behind this, combat shields being researched. Oh my. This looks like an early tank push. Yeah, a bit of a Dolan build, actually. Bit of a Dolan build. If you remember, Dolan did a variation of this on... I almost said Moondance. Stargazers. That's it. Stargazers, last map pool. But essentially... the reason why we prioritize combat shields is because it's not about the Marines doing damage, it's about the Marines soaking damage for the tanks. Because we are building up a very early tank count. It's going to be a very committed push from Gumiho. Very committed here. Meanwhile, with the Stargate opener, Oracle does get into the natural base, does get into the main. And we do get eyes on the Marine count. Ooh, but good stutter stepping out of Gumiho. The Oracle didn't really get much. The Oracle got 1 SCV. Not worth it. Not worth it so far for Hero. Thankfully, he does have a second and a would-be third Oracle. Committing quite hard here to Oracle production. Trying to catch Gumiho off guard. Does get another SCV. Gets 1, gets 2. 2 SCVs go down. Gumiho is forced back. Hero is forced back. And Gumiho is still building up that tank count, and we are soon to move out. Reaper now gets eyes on the production, but we do see Hero, he's doubling down on 2 bases. I do appreciate this. He recognizes, he acknowledges the power behind the build of Gumiho. Picks off 8 SCVs, and Gumiho, he pulls some of the boys. He's going for a very committed push here on 2 bases. Meanwhile, Hero stayed on 2 bases, and he's working towards an Immortal. The Immortal is going to be the backbone of his army. Can Hero hold as he gets more SCVs? The Oracles, they're going ham. They get so much economic damage done, but the tanks, they are within range of the wall. Gateways are going down, but the Immortal does pop out. Shield battery's focused, no overcharge, no shield battery. Gateway does fall, and the tanks, they're edging ever closer. And moving towards the army, towards the production. Boys are being pulled. This may just be too much anyway. The Adepts are falling. The Immortal doing what it can. Does focus down the tanks. Both tanks fall. But there's 1 tank left. And we depower the Robo, but just barely not in time. Second Immortal does pop, but it may just not be enough. We have a Void Ray on the way, just trying to produce whatever we can. And Hero, he's barely trying to hold on here, but we have lost so much. Meanwhile, 22 SCVs have gone down. Those Oracles have gone ham. Gumiho is all in. He's running out of steam. We have an overcharge. We barely have an overcharge. Good control here out of Hero. Does pull back, but the Immortal goes down. The Immortal does fall. We have 1 Marine left. The tank, it gets cleaned up just barely, and Hero, he holds. He's barely holding on. Gumiho running out of steam. He has stim, that is true. Barely has stim. But this is a really awkward situation. Okay, so both players have comparable economies. Oracles are coming in to harass. They force out a stim. Gumiho going for a drop towards the main. He is going for that drop. We don't have anything in position. Again, if Hero hadn't come out with that second Immortal in time, then we would have seen a very different game, but we juiced him into the mineral line. Probes are being targeted down. Very good control here out of Gumiho, targeting down so many workers. He gets 7. 7 workers go down. Seven workers to fall, but we clean up the medevac. Ay, ay, ay. The Oracles, they do gain even more value here, getting a couple of SCVs. Gumiho stuck at home. But again, like, this is a really weird position because Hero hasn't expanded. Hero, he is still not taken a 3rd base. So 2 base versus 2 base here. I want to give the edge to Hero. Gumiho ideally would like a 3rd, but he's still building up likewise on 2 bases as well. We've got bunkers, we've got tank lines. We even delay with an eBay. The 3rd finally on the way here for Hero. Likewise, also on the way for Gumiho. Oracles, they dive in, they sacrifice themselves, killing 4 more workers before they get shut down. And with that, the game is in a really weird place. We're kind of settling on into this. Gumiho, he does have a 3rd base actually in line with Hero, which I would give the edge to Gumiho economically, but he is pushing out. He is pushing out with a massive army. How many tanks? Look in the unit tab. 2 tanks. We have 5 Vikings, which will help with the Void Rays as well as the Colossus. And we have 30 Marines. Gumiho has a massive supply lead. Hallucination does confirm. Again, this army looking a little bit vulnerable for Hero. There's a Colossus, yes, but that's what the Vikings are for. The turrets are being thrown down. Gumiho slowly pushing forward. Gets a lit. Gets a lip. Gets a Void Ray. Gets 1. Second Void Ray as well. Now we're going for the Colossus. We dive on top of the Prism, goes down, and everything on the ground as well. Hero, his entire army melts before Gumiho. And Gumio is snowballing out of control. He's got double the army supply. Third base just now getting up and running for Hero, but it's too little too late. And Gumio, he will pull this off. GG gets called. The 2-base all-in does pay off, and Gumio takes game number 1. Whew. GG. That was wild. That was a wild game again. Hero, he barely survived, barely held on, but he just could not. He was not able to keep up with the economy of Gumio. Gumio had an even worker count plus mules. He was able to build up towards the additional Vikings, additional tanks. Hero unable to keep up. GG. GG, well played. Whew. As we head towards game number 2, as we continue our finals. Now, that was only game 2. I would expect this to go back and forth, and I know that Gumio is hyper-aggressive and he's very creative with his playstyle. In saying so, I don't think we're going to see that build again. That's the thing. Gumio, I'm sure he has something different and special planned for every game. For every game in this series. I'm here for it. I am here for it. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our red Protoss player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming, down in this series but not out, not by any means, not yet. It is Hero. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Terran player representing Team Na'Vi, leading the series 1-0. It is Gumio. Go. As Gumio going to be starting or continuing things off with a bit of a bang here. We have a proxy Rax on the way, because of course we do. it's Gumio. Of course we do. We have the Rax in production here. It is being proxied. Now it's only going to be a singular Rax. I'm curious if this is going to be proxy Marauder with a tech lab, or if we do commit and we just go for a Reaper opener. Just a singular Reaper instead. We'll see what we have in store for us. I'm imagining Marauder, but we'll see if we go for the Tech Lab or just Reaper. As Hero, he's just opening up back at home. Getting into the swing of things. Based on the rally, it should be a Reaper, and the completion of this Rax, we do have confirmation. Reaper is on the way. Now, this is a very light, aggression here from Gumio. It's only a single Rax, only one Reaper. This is designed to throw down a bunker behind the mineral line. SV comes in, but there's a pro patrolling, and the bunker cannot be thrown down. Just a way to get ahead economically. Just a way to get ahead. There we go, Reaper's on the way, Rax floating back home, and we are transitioning here with a double gas opener, transitioning into factory. Meanwhile, Reaper does dip into the main. Huh. Does dive in, looking for a probe kill, is gonna get one. Ooh, just barely. We get surrounded. No shot, not worth it as Gumio loses. He trades a Reaper for a probe. Not like this, and the Rax, it's up in the air, it's floating back home, no production. This opener was not worth it. A rough start there for Gumio, as the opener kind of falls on its face. It's rough start. Behind this, we're getting into our Cyclone, but really Gumio, he has set himself behind. His CC is delayed. We're getting to a 1-1-1. Again, no additional Rax production. We don't even have the Reaper to scout. Like, the Reaper is not alive to be able to confirm whether or not it's even a Twilight Council. We don't know. It could be a Stargate opener, it could be a Twilight Council, could be a Robo, could be anything. Not like this. Also, my bad. God, I've been introducing him as Na'Vi this entire time. Cloud9, Papi, Cloud9. Of course, Spirit is Na'Vi. Like, all the All these Terran players, they all look the same. Ay. My apologies. Thank you. Shout out to Kashim though. Thank you so much. My apologies. On Cloud9, of course, not Navi. Ooh. As Hallucination Scout does confirm it's not a one-base all-in, does confirm the 2-on-1 opener here, or the 2-on-1 follow-up of Gumiho, as we need to get damage done. There's so much pressure on Gumiho. We're going for a Mind Drop, coinciding here with some Liberator aggression as well. Libs and Minds are moving out, and we'll see if Hero can keep up. Mine outside that natural. Stalkers are in position. We do deny the drop. Oh my god. Getting so many volleys off on that medevac. At the same time, Widowmine tries to waddle in as well. Up. Slipping in towards the natural. Mine's just going to be going off. Ooh, takes down a Stalker. Not bad. Stalker goes down. Medevac does survive. Does escape. And we at least save one of those Widowmines as well. We confirm that it's going to be an economic follow-up. Hero going for the Nexus. So 2-gate blink into that Nexus. Very economic follow-up here by Hero. And we'll see how Gumiho can recover. We're rushing into Stim, really early tank production as well. We could be going for another 2-base push, which I'm not opposed to on Golden Aura, I'll be honest. I'm not opposed to it. Could work quite well. Scan trying to get eyes on the Observer. Speaking of Observer, not quite out on the field. It's actually back at home to defend. As Hallucination is coming in for a scout. The push has been avoided, by the way. Gumiho, he's kept this push hidden from any kind of scouts, from any kind of detection. Stim is seconds away. Hero back at home. Are we ready for this? We're teching up, working towards charge, +1, Colossus production, additional gateways. And here we go, Gumiho, he does siege up within range of the production. Can the Colossus pop out? It's halfway done. The gateway is gonna fall. Drop into the main. Boys are being pulled as well away from that Liberator. We do pick off one gateway. We're gonna get the other. Oh my god. Yeah, Stalker's gonna be going down. The gateways as well. But I believe the Colossus will spawn in. The Colossus has arrived. Without the Cybercore, of course, we cannot warp in any more Stalkers. Charge about to finish. Gumiho edging ever closer here. If he was a little bit more ambitious, we could have maybe gone within range of the Robo. As we are now. But again, Hero just needs a little bit more time. Second Colossus in production. It's coming. It's on the way. And Gumiho is expanding behind this. Third CC is thrown down. Yeah, and the overcharge will keep this Robo alive. Second Colossus does pop out. Hero should be able to hold as he collapses on the army. Comes in for a surround. Comes in from both angles here, and the tanks are being focused. He gets one, he gets two. He gets only 2 tanks. The Gateway army just barely wasn't enough. And Gumiho may just have too much here. Drops into the main base, distracting the army, forces a warp into the main. And Gumiho pulls back. Very mature decision. Very mature here. He does pull back. Doesn't overextend. Now, what's scary here is that this entire time Hero has been mining. He didn't lose any probes. He has been mining freely on 3 bases. He's building up towards Immortals. Extend the Malance, +2. More gateways. Hero, he's holding his own. Meanwhile, Gumiho is taking his third. And with this, he's going to be catching up economically. Taking a lead even. The onus is now on Hero to take a fourth. But stuck on 3 bases for the time being. There we go. Fourth is now on the way. As Gumiho does land his third. I almost called him Spirit. The Terran player on Navi, obviously. God, I was casting Gumiho earlier. Ah, Smurge. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. As a hero behind this, he's just building up more Colossi, working towards a Dark Shrine even. Okay. Interesting. Interesting choice here from Hero. Opting to go for the DTs, the Invisible Man. I mean, that is a good way to come back in this game. I would give the edge to Gumiho at the moment. I mean, we have Colossi, so Hero isn't really in any danger of dying, but... I mean, as I say that, that's a lot of tanks. I guess the scary thing is that we did preserve so many. We preserved a lot of tanks. And how many do we have? 6. 6 tanks in total. We are pushing. Now the Colossi do meet up though. Big swipes. 4 Colossi. Oh my god. 5 Colossus? Hero. We're getting up towards 5 Colossi here. My god. That's a bit much. That's a lot of overkill. It's a lot of overkill here. And here we go. We do dive on 4. The Colossi having their way with the Marines. Gumiho not respecting them. He does get 1. But Gumiho, he lost so many Marines there. A moving forward. Yeah, we can collapse on this. And Hero, he's going to completely shut this down. The tanks are exposed. Not enough Marines to help defend. And GG gets called. And Hero, he ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Gumiho, he had potential. He had potential with his push. But again, he did fight out of range of his tanks. And he lost so many Marines at the start of the fight. Lost so much to those Colossi, and with that, Hero snowballs out of control with his mass Colossus army. Does tie the series 1-1. We have a back and forth. We have a series. We do have a series here. Let's go. That's all I ever ask for. From here, we are getting ready for game number 3. Going to be on, ooh, Alcyone. Alcyone is going to be game 3. How will the story continue? Where will you take us? Let's go. Again, just hyper-aggression from everyone involved. It was a rough start for Gumiho, if you remember, with the failed proxy racks. Into a devastating push, which almost did kill Hero. I do think we could have been a little bit more assertive. I do think we could have gone within range of the Robo initially. I do think that Gumiho was just being a little bit too conservative with his push. And didn't achieve as much as it otherwise could have. But here we go. We're getting into game 3 to determine who takes a lead in this series. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alcyone, we have the red Protoss player representing CranKy Gaming, DKZ. It is Hero. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Cloud9, not Na'Vi. Again, I apologize for saying the wrong team the entire tournament. I do apologize. Representing Cloud9, it is Gumiho. I did confuse him with Spirit. Look, all these new teams joining, it's confusing. It's too much, too much. Not just all the new teams, but there's a lot of team swaps recently as well. Like, there's a lot of teams like joining and leaving Platinum Heroes, a lot of teams joining and leaving other teams as well. It's quite a bit to keep up with, but I'll do my best. I will do my best. As we do settle on in. And Gumiho opening up double gas. Interesting. An aggressive opener here out of Gumiho. With double gas, as we did mention before, it leads into faster factory production, faster cyclone potential, even a cyclone job opener. Would make sense. Meanwhile, we do see Heroes scouting, looking for proxy racks. I understand completely after game number 2. Hero is checking his corners, making sure there's no hidden SCV. making sure everything's as it should be. And there's that factory on the way that we did mention previously. Here we go. Also, as a reminder, as we're getting into our openers, it's going to be a gate expand from Hero, gate cyber expand even, is that we should be casting ESL Open Cup Europe here. I believe it's going to be for the third, maybe fourth time. We don't often cast ESL Open Cup Europe, but it is now at a decent time slot for us, so we'll be casting that in a couple of hours. It does mean that we'll be missing out on Americas, so there's a give and take. We usually cast Americas, now we won't. We usually don't cast ESL Europe, now we will. So a bit of a give and take, as I did mention. Reaper does pop. Probe goes down alongside the eventual pylon as it gets thrown down to get an eye on what comes next. And we'll delay the Reaper, we'll keep it busy here across the map while Hero does probe up and does get into his tech of choice. It is not going to be a Twilight Council, going to be a Stargate opener out of Hero. Now, if this was any other Protoss, I'd say Stargate for Phoenixes, but Hero has shown us that he's willing to be aggressive with Oracles. And there it is! It's going to be an Oracle opener from our Protoss player. Something not too common, I'll be honest. Much more common specifically with Hero. Meanwhile, Cyclone production well underway. We throw down a second Rax before Starport, so very aggressive follow-up here. Gumiho is building up an abundance of Marines. Very aggressive build from the Terran, delaying the Starport, delaying the Metamax. Meanwhile, the Reaper did dip in and did get eyes on the Starport. Sorry, Stargate. Gumiho, he is aware. Does see. And he's getting in position for those Oracles. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, never fool me again. As Gumiho, last time, of course, that we saw the Oracles, they were wreaking havoc. They were killing so many SCVs. And Gumiho is getting in position for said Oracles. Ooh. Reaper is shut down. Oracle threatens the main, threatens the natural. Cyclone's in position. Nice lock on the Oracle as we do shave off the shields. But not much else. Not much else. Stim is on the way. Ooh, pretty interesting actually. So we don't go for the add-on swap. We don't go for a faster tank production. We do prioritize Stim instead. Delaying tanks. Makes sense. So you don't really need tanks early on defensively unless you're going for an all-in or unless you're up against a Blink build. But it isn't Blink. It was a Stargate opener. Into delayed Blink, don't get me wrong. We are working eventually towards Blink Stalkers, but not anytime soon. As a result, Gumiho can afford to delay tank production, as tanks are only just now starting up. Meanwhile, across the map, Hero goes straight for the third CC, or third Nexus. Third base is on the way. Is going to be on the way here, and meanwhile, the onus is going to be on Gumiho to push out. Again, with fast stim, that means fast drop play. It means to be active on the map and be quite proactive as well. As we are just waiting for the eventual Metavax. Liberators on the way. We're actually going to be pushing out, there we go, with our Metavax as well. Do you have Hero just taking up, working towards his forge, upgrades, saturating his third base, working towards charge, building up. When it comes to his vision, unfortunately, he has none. Unfortunately, Hero, he has control of the Zolnaga, but not much else. He did not open up Robo, or doesn't have a Robo, period, so he has no observer, no vision, and Gumiho, he does skirt around the edge of the map, unscouted. Hallucination comes in, gets eyes on the third CC, so he knows that it's not a 2-base all-in. Is aware of that at least, and here we go, we do stim in forward. We stim into the natural base, the army out of position, the Oracle goes down, the boys are being pulled. Tank does get targeted, but we ignore the army, we just dive straight into the main base. Oh my god, it's going to be a one-way trip, there's no way out of this. We got 12 probes, good target firing here out of Gumiho. 15 probes go down. And I would say that this is pretty well worth it. Oh, as the medevac does escape. Massive pick of fear. 15 dead workers. Did I say 15? I meant to say 16 as one more probe goes down towards the end. And the Liberator is still... I was going to say is still alive. No longer. As it is focused down. But regardless, 16 workers for how much? What was the trade? 16 pros for 10 Marines? And the tank... losing the tank was less than ideal. That's true. Losing the tank was brutal. But regardless, good damage is dealt. And Gumiho, he does even up the worker count. Plus mules means that Gumiho is ahead. On top of that, third base is about to be taken here with triple mule production and triple SCV production as well. So Gumiho, he does take quite an economic lead. That is soon to be reflected in the army size. And the size of the supply. Hero, meanwhile, going to be threatening some adepts. Threatening a shade. Adepts are getting ready. Adepts are getting ready to dive in, but we are in position. Gumiho, he has an army controlling the Zonago, of course, but he has reinforcements back at home. Boys are being pulled, though. SCVs are going down. 4 workers in total. 4 workers for 4 adepts. Better trade for Gumiho. Ideally, the Protoss doesn't want to trade 1 for 1. Would like to trade a little bit better than that. Second Robo is on the way. We still do not have any splash damage. Colossi will soon be on the horizon, but until then, Gumiho is pushing. Gumiho, he's up 20 supply. He's up in army supply. And he can push through. At the same time, Hero going for a wraparound. Zealots are getting set up to come in from behind. Gumiho rotating around. Looking for another way in. Zealots actually go for a big counterattack. Winter Mines are going to be going off. And we have reinforcements back at home as well. At the same time, Gumiho, he dives into the third. Yeah, shield battery is going to be targeted. Oh, not quite. Does put in a lot of work, actually. Yeah, big shield battery, big overcharge, preserves everything, but the mines! The mines go for the stalkers, and every stalker goes down. Not a good trade for Hero. And we're not done. We drop into the main. Overcharge is on cooldown. Gumiho just rallying towards that third base. Reinforcements are on the way, and Hero, he's in a lot of trouble. Again, he lost so many workers earlier, and because of that economic deficit, Hero has never recovered. A big Colossus swipes going off. I think we can hold. Yep, Hero. He does barely hold on. Gumiho overextends. He loses far too much here in that choke point. Once again, not respecting the Colossus. And Hero is recovering. Hero, he's been able to catch back up in probes. Still behind, but he needs a fourth base getting up and running. Colossi are out, so making Colossus and Disruptors at the same time as well. Scan does reveal the 4th. Oh, and Gumiho now knows the pressure is on. Just now working on his own 4th base. I would still give Gumiho the edge overall, but he doesn't have as much of a lead as he once did. As we go for a massive Doom Drop into the main base. And we do force a recall. But there's plenty to defend. The big mine shot's going to be going off. Very efficient trades. That's Gumiho. He's going for that Stalker. Yeah, there is no escape. He does rotate over towards the third base. We do get a weapon of Zealots. And the Zealots will force this back eventually. Oh, brutal choke point here. Gumiho trading so well. Cleans up all the Zealots. Does make it out of there. Does make it out. behind this is working in his own fourth. We have +1 ship weapons, making 3 ghosts at a time. Vikings as well. Gumiho is just getting into the mid game quite freely into Viking Ghost. Meanwhile, Hero is keeping up. He's keeping up with his own robo production. Is moving out. Ooh, does he smell blood in the water? Has Gumiho lost too much? Nova does connect. Yeah, Hero forcing his way up the ramp. Nova takes down some of those Marauders. And there may just not be enough here on the ground. Oh, Nova into the mineral line. 8 SCVs go down. Vikings, they have arrived. Hero pulling back for a moment. Does pull back. And massive Nova's gonna be going off. Big connections. Oh my god. Hero is taking a massive fight here. Big connections on the army. Colossi are gonna go down, but what about the ground army? What about the Protoss on the ground? Because the Chargers, they're breaking through. The Zealots, the Stalkers, the Vikings, they do nothing. They have to land, and even if they do land, there's just not enough on the ground to support. The Novas, they connect with the Vikings, with the SCVs. GG gets called, and Hero, he breaks through, and he takes game number 3. He takes a 2-1 lead in the grand finals. GG. Again, Gumiho had momentum. He had things swinging in his favor, but he had some rough fights. He had a couple of rough trades where Gumiho did overextend. 100%. He did overextend, did push a little bit too hard into the third. He didn't know that there was a fourth. That was a big moment as well, if you remember, when he was forced back, when he scanned, when he saw the fourth base after his failed push. Like the initial dive that killed 15 probes, I did like it. I did like the dive, but outside of that, there were some rough moments for Gumiho, and Hero was able to recover, able to get away with more Colossi, more Disruptors, a robust army, and GG. GG, well played. Before Gumiho could stabilize on Ghost Lib, on Ghost Viking Lib, Hero was able to just take advantage of him, and just like that, Hero is 1 game away. Una más! 1 more game is all he needs to win it all. As we make our way into game number 4. Let's go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hard Lead, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Dragon Kai Z Gaming, DKZ. It is Hero. Una más, 1 more game is all he needs to become this week's ESL Open Cup champion. Meanwhile, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Terran player, representing Cloud9. Oh, he has to win this game to force the ace match, to force the game 5. It is Gumiho. Now, personally, I would love a game 5. I'm greedy like that. I'm greedy. I want a game 5. I want us to go the distance, but it is not on me. The pressure is on the Terran. The pressure is on Gumiho. Can we bring this back? Can we pull this off? Let's go. Let us go as... Oh, Hero. As we've already had Gumiho being aggressive and going for proxies, but this time it's going to be on Hero instead. The pylon has been thrown down, and show us the gateways. Gateways are on the way. We have 1 gateway back at home. We have a gateway across the map. Now, this is not the most committed proxy. This is not the most aggressive, not the most all-in. This is just a way to apply pressure. Now, if Gumiho were to go for a Rax Expand, or even if with a double gas opener, if he goes for a CC on the low ground, the purpose of this build from Hero is to punish that CC. It's to delay and force a cancel, and just set Gumiho behind economically. That's the goal. Now, thankfully for Gumiho, he's opening up double gas. He's opening up double gas, faster factory, into faster Hellions, cyclone production, army in general. Despite that, he still may get his CC on the low ground, and if that's the case, we can still gain some value here. As we are, of course, loading into hard lead. There we go. First Zealot is moving out across the map. Zealot followed by Stalker, followed by Adept. Just one of everything. And there it is, CC on the low ground for Gumiho. Zealot has been revealed. That's a tell. That is going to be a tell here. It does distract that Reaper. Stalker has arrived. We focus on the SCV. Oh, ooh, when we do get a kill in the SCV, the CC is delayed. We actually push towards the natural, towards the main. There's not much to really get here. Cyclone is in production. We're trying to focus down the depot of all things. We are trying to focus down that depot. And can we break into the main? Can the Adepts get into the mineral line? This is a bold move. We're not going to force the cancel. We're going to force some lost mining time here. We get the Marines. Oh, Marines are going to be targeted down. Both of them do fall. SCVs are being pulled as well. So many workers going down. And the lock-on is broken. The Stalker somehow survives. One Adept gets into the main base, and this is becoming too much. 5 SCVs have fallen, and we are getting more damage done. As the Adept does shade out. We meet up with the rest of the army. Warp Gate still seconds away. CC still not completed, which means we can delay it for a second time. Gumiho does have to be careful. Yeah, we're tapping on the Cyclone. Gumiho overextends, and the Cyclone, it does get picked off. Massive pick off there from Hero. And he's going to get another Cyclone. It barely does survive. Nice lock on. Doesn't get the Adept. Does not get the Adept in the end. As we take down the second Cyclone. Oh, and we're snowballing out of control. Hero, this is becoming far too much damage. Sure, the CC may finish. It's not going to finish. It's not going to complete. It's not going to be done. The Killer Instinct is just far too much, and Hero snowballs out of control. GG gets called, and Hero is going to be this week's ESL Open Cup Asia champion. GG. GG, well played. Hero snowballing out of control. I was concerned that Hero did leave that CC alone. I was concerned that he was going to be allowing Gumiho to stabilize, but no, Hero, he was so quick to jump on top of those first two Marines. With the death of those first two Marines, there was very little to support the Cyclones, and Gumiho, he was caught out. He did overextend with his Cyclones. He lost the first one, and upon losing the first Cyclone, he lost everything else behind it. GG, well played. Hero just snowballing out of control. Congratulations. Congratulations here to Hero. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the in-game chat. Gumiho is saying that, oh my god, that defense is so brutal. I'm gonna practice. That's what he's saying to Hero right now. He's saying, I say practice. He said he's gonna do some drills. He's gonna drill the defense every day. Oh my god. Every day. Hero saying me too. Oh my god. The banter. Gumiho, he's saying, I'm so sad, I'm crying. Sorry, I'm Google translating every line of text. Google translating. GG, GG, well played. Again, both players just having a bit of a conversation. Talking about the game, talking about the final moments there. Really cool to see. Really cool to see. But yeah, congratulations here to Hero for claiming his win, for becoming our champion. A big shout to Gumiho though, because Gumiho had a deep run himself. You know, I don't want to take away from Gumiho. He may not have won tonight, but he was able to take down some big names. Exclamation mark B in the chat to have a look at the back of yourselves as we switch our scenes over and catch up. Hero, he took down Classic, Nice, and Dark to advance on and to win the entire tournament. Of course, Hero did drop maps. He dropped a map to Nice, he dropped a map to Dark. It was not the easiest run for Hero. He did stumble on the way, but he didn't make it in the end. Meanwhile, Gumiho, he took down Björn, Shin, and Mechanics. Oh, Mechanics more of an amateur player, but he took down Shin and Björn to make it to the finals. did falter in the end, but took down some big names. Some big names did fall at his feet. So very well done. A very solid performance there at Gumiho. GG, well played. And I look forward to seeing everyone at IM. All the players, I mean. Like Hero, Gumiho, Dark, Shin, Creator. They're all going to be traveling. They're all going to be traveling because later on, in a couple of days, in only a couple of days, we have IM Katowice. We have IM Katowice where the best of the best are going to be facing off, duking it out, and looking to claim that trophy, that IM Katowice championship. So, yeah, don't forget to mark your calendars and tune in. For those that are curious, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 days. 4 days full of StarCraft action are going to be had in Poland at IM Katowice. At IM. Gumiho's going to be there. Solar, Spirit, Hero Marine, Clem, Cure, Bunny, Bjorn, Dark, Hero, anyone who's anyone is going to be a part of the event. The best of the best will be facing off. So look forward to it. Do look forward to it. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. We do appreciate the support. And we are done for now, but we are not done for the day. As I mentioned before, to quickly reiterate, I'm currently on a different setup. A lot of people were asking like, yo, Papi, what's going on? What's happening with the cams? Why are you so happy? Oh, well, I'm not at my home setup. I'm not in Australia. For those who don't know, I'm based in Australia, in the land of Oz. And that's usually where I cast from. But I have been traveling. I got here to Poland a couple of days ago. A couple of days ago, I did arrive on the 31st or the 1st of February. A couple of days ago, I did arrive, and I have been setting things up here. I've been casting from Poland, and will be a part of. I mean, I say will. I will be there at IM Katowice. I won't be a part of the broadcast. I will not be a part of the casting or anything like that. But I'm gonna be there nonetheless, just because. I always did regret. I always did regret. Not going to Korea for Pro League, for example. Like I was a big fan of Pro League, big fan of Spot TV and a lot of their events. Korea versus the World, for example, the cross finals back in the day, back in 2014, 2015, 2016. I never got to see any of it. I've never been to an offline event. I've been to some LANs in Australia. That's true. I've been to like PAX, like casted PAX. I've been to BrizCraft. BrizCraft. I've been to a couple of LANs here and there in Australia, but I've never been to a big premiere event before, and I wanted to at least once in my life. Like StarCraft has been a big part of my life, a massive part of it. It's what I do for a living nowadays as well, and even before that, I was just a big fan, watching everything that I could. And yeah, I wanna be there for an IEM at one point. The other big thing, of course, when it comes to regrets, it wasn't just the Korean events that I never got to see. I never got to see BlizzCon, right? I was never at a BlizzCon, and BlizzCon isn't a thing anymore. Like the BlizzCon World Finals was always massive, right? Especially with the transforming stage and all that stuff in the Americas. And again, never got to see any of that. Never got to see any of the IEMs. And now that we're in the twilight years of StarCraft, I wanted to at least be a part of an event, while I can. So IM Katowice is going to be the one. A little bit unfortunate that the year that I'm going to IM is the year that it is not the World Finals, so there's a little bit less weight behind it. For those that are maybe a little bit less in the know, IM Katowice is no longer the World Finals for StarCraft. It is the World Finals is going to be at Gamers 8. Gamers 8 in, I think, July, halfway through the year. Instead, that is going to be the World Finals. So it's a bit of a shame that the event that I'm going to is now a little bit less of it's a little bit not as high profile as it once was, but it's going to be a big event nonetheless, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm sure it's going to be a great event to be had, and if you happen to be going, then maybe we can meet up. Maybe we can meet up and hang out and interact in some way. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there as a part of the crowd. We'll be there. So yeah, going to be some good fun. Otherwise, if you want some more cranky duckling action, we're not done. We're not done here for the night. We're going to be back in 5 hours. Sorry, in 4.5 hours. We're going to be live here on the channel with ESL Open Cup Europe. What up, papi? ESL Open Cup Europe is going to be starting up in 4.5 hours. and we're going to be live here on the channel. Again, now that I'm in Poland, I can actually cast this live. It does mean that I cannot cast America's live. That won't be happening, but at least I'll be here for Asia. I'm sorry, for Europe. So I will be live in a couple of hours with, of course, some European StarCraft action, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it, to appreciate the support, as always. And with that, I guess I bid you adieu. Take this moment to, get some rest, get some food. I know I will. I'm going to calm down. I'm going to go have a shower and prepare myself for the cast later on tonight. The StarCraft doesn't end, baby, doesn't end. Oh. But with that, we're done. We're done for the night. And yeah, sorry, I was just catching up with the chat. Just catching up with the Twitch chat. With that, we are done for the night. And we'll see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego. Bye. 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 We'll see you guys in 4.5 hours. Ciao.